Blog Talk Radio.
He's not me. Yes, I am. I'm much taller. No, you're not. You're fatter, though. No, I'm not. We're the same. We're not the same at all. Yes, we are. No, we're not. Yes, we are.
I'm greater than, lesser than, and equal to the universe. I'm greater than it because I can contain it in my mind, and lesser than it because that's obvious, schmuck. And I'm equal to it because I'm of the same atoms it is. And I always say that what that does for me is connect me to everything and make me a part of it. I earnestly believe that it is all one spirit, all one energy, all one beat, and there are just these different manifestations of it. Because of that, I feel very safe in the universe. I feel very comfortable and very at home because it is only me. And hey, it's only me. Remember that? Hey, it's okay. It's only me. Well, that's what the universe says to me. Nothing of this shit can scare me because, hey, it's only me. No fucking problem.
So everything that exists is everything that exists. I am everything that exists. So are you. The more you realize that, the more you open up to the full infinity of who you are.
We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful. But we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men, with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines. You are not cattle. You are men.
That is the problem. That's the crisis. It's not political crisis, economic crisis, or the crisis of war. But the crisis is in ourselves.
The way out of this is the ultimate revolution. It's to be who we are and not what someone else tells us we should be.
Christ, Buddhas, Krishnas, Muhammads, Wavokas, you are all the same as them. Every single one of them said that to all of you. He did not mean follow him in a religious context. He meant be the way I am.
No, you listen to me.
Because you are.
Listen to me.
That way.
Go to yourself, because that's the only place you're ever going to find any real truth. But you people sit there day after day, night after night, all ages, colors, creeds. You do whatever the tube tells you. You dress like a tube, you eat like a tube, you raise your children like a tube. This is mass madness, you maniacs. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.
We have created this society, so we are responsible for that society. But is it possible not to change society, but is it possible to radically, deeply transform our condition, our consciousness, which is what we are? Is this possible?
Hello, Freedomizers. Nickie Nix here with you as we rise above dehumanization on this very, very beautiful Friday afternoon. Here it is, the 25th of March, and where I am here in Texas, it is absolutely beautiful. I mean, sort of early 70s right now, nice sun, light breeze, green trees and bushes and birds with baby birds, and just a beautiful spring day, I have to say. It's absolutely gorgeous. And sadly to say, we're going to be waiting on Unckle Buck just for a little while. I know he's traveling the U.S. right now, but Sleepy Salsa is going to join me for a little while. So hi, Sleepy. I like saying Sleepy.
Yes, hey, Nickie, thanks for having me on.
Oh, yeah, man, thanks for jumping in at the last minute and all. It's one of those days, but that's okay. I mean, we all have days like that, like, long nights and lots of driving for Unckle Buck, and then, I'm sure he'll be here as soon as he can.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've had that too, traveling across the country and whatnot, and it can be fairly exhausting. You fall asleep to the TV with the flickering lights at you with David Letterman on or some other kind of thing like that, just so that you can kind of fall asleep on the rough mattress.
Yeah, and just being in a weird place for me, I always prefer to be home. I like being at home.
Yeah, because, I mean, you picked your own bed, you picked your own furniture, you can decide whether to have a TV or not, etc.
Yep, it's one of those kind of things. Yeah, me, I just got to have sound. Nice little sound somewhere, like constant sound, an AC running, keeping it cold, something.
Definitely provides that kind of soothing effect, absolutely. Kind of like white noise does for certain, like, soother machines.
Yeah, exactly, as opposed to, like, very jarring sounds in the middle of the night, because the slightest noise will wake me up if not.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Nice thing about being a heavier sleeper is that in case you can't have the white noise or the gentle air conditioning sound or what have you, you can at least kind of somewhat sleep through everything. Unfortunately, the other bad side of it is that if you were engaged in interesting operations where being a light sleeper would be helpful, then that's kind of the flip side of that.
True. Having a child helps. I mean, being a light sleeper helps with having a child around. He can't get away with anything with me. I hear it all. But even with the white noise, at least I just don't hear, like, especially living in an apartment, it's kind of difficult that way. But hey, it is Friday, so how's the weather where you are? Is it as nice as it is here? Are you cold like other people I've been talking to?
No. It's actually been fairly warm and hot outside. There hasn't been a cloud in the sky. Actually, I did make a recent...
no chemtrails?
Actually, funny you should mention that. I actually did make a video recently where I said contrail. I think I might turn this into a series called Contrail or Chemtrail, and then I just kind of submit to other people who watch it whether the phenomenon in the sky is a contrail or a chemtrail, and just kind of leave it at that because I don't know too much about it. I talked to Rosalind Peterson once, but about how to deal with chemtrails, but she really wasn't that forthcoming about things other than use the political process, and we all know how well that works.
Well, that's what a lot of this was going to be about, is actually walking into a court system and realizing the kind of system you walk into, because you're walking into an admiralty court, right? I mean, under their rules, and until you bring it back to a common law, then people can be in serious issues.
Well, yeah, I mean, what's interesting is that, a lot of folks who are liberty-loving, gun-toting, anti-New World Order type people, always get upset when a piece of legislation has been passed into what they think is law. For example, if you want to start with something simple, we can start with the Patriot Act. And then there's been a subsequent series of draconian legislation like the John Warner Defense Authorization Act, Military Commissions Act, etc. But, did no one ever get the thought in their heads that they should probably get a legal dictionary or two and actually look up what these words mean? What does the word act mean legally?
Personally, I actually don't know. I don't even have a legal dictionary in front of me. I have a medical one in front of me, but not a legal one right now.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just been something that's been interesting is that, certain folks who like to more look into what we would think of normally as the legal field, they do usually have at least 2 or 3 or 4 different legal dictionaries. I know there's Black's Law Dictionary, there's Bouvier's dictionary, and I think there's at least a few others, but those are just the 2 to kind of start off with. And it's important to know the meanings of words. What actually do these words mean? What does act mean? What does person mean? What does submit mean? Or submission? What does registration mean? What does application mean? For example, when we get our driver's licenses, what you do is you submit an application for registration. Does anybody know what that means? What's interesting is that there...
Like, what about, like, when you get a summons? You know, it's a request, and you can always deny that request.
Well, so far, yeah, that would seem to be accurate as far as I understand it. Actually, there's a funny one. Sorry, slip of the tongue there. What does the word understand mean? You know, for example, a lot of folks, when they have a police encounter or contact or interrogation, as the case may be, at one point, usually these officers, who should be peace officers, actually, that's its own little fun subject right there, is policy enforcement officer versus peace officer. But anyway, when people who would usually think of a police officer asking at some point, do you understand? Now, why would he ask that? What is the reasoning behind that? See, but my point here is that it's not so much about having the answers, although that is important, but it's more about having the right questions. So again, nobody knows what an act is. Nobody knows what the submission, registration, application mean. Nobody knows what understand means, and those are just the basics.
Sleepy Salsa, hold on one second. Yeah, thank you, Sleepy Salsa. I was making a quick call. I was calling Unckle Buck. So keep going real quick. I appreciate it. Let me talk to him, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so here's what's going on, folks. There have been various people in other Western industrialized countries, I would say probably Canada and Britain especially, who have been looking into what you and I would normally think of as the legal field and trying to perform different things. One would be statute deconstruction, where literally you go through these laws, I guess you could say, they're statutes, but these laws that that Congress or Parliament passes, and trying to kind of find out, what do these things mean? What does the Social Security Act mean? Now, for example, the Social Security Act was supposed to be, the Social Security number was never supposed to be used for ID. They actually admit that. Of course, now, try doing anything without a Social Security number. I mean, think about it. You can't.
You're even assigned one before you leave the hospital. When you're born, they give you paperwork and they send it off for you. The hospital submits the Social Security form before you even leave with your child.
Wow, I didn't even know that. That's probably something relatively new then. But I definitely know that even if the hospital didn't do that on your behalf, usually what happens is that parents submit an application for registration. They apply for a Social Security number for their child, or in the rare event that that doesn't happen, usually when somebody is like a teenager or something to that effect, they go ahead and just apply for a Social Security number on their own. But even to get into school and whatnot, usually the parents have to do that. That's how you can even get into public school. In order to fill out forms and other things, you need an SSN. It's kind of required. And even for adults, just think about it. Can you go about your daily life without using a Social Security number? Think about it. You can't open a bank account, can't have a bank account. They require an SSN. Driver's license, same thing.
No, exactly. If you don't have a birth certificate, you can't get into school in the first place.
Exactly.
And that in and of itself has issues. I mean, we could go on with issues of the Social Security or the birth certificate alone, because I mean, at that point, you're set up as a commercial entity instead of actually a person. So.
Yes, exactly. And again, it goes back to, what do these words mean? And probably the best place to start off is, what is a person? And there are various different definitions for a person. Sometimes they'll say it's an actual flesh and blood human being as we understand it. But there's also a definition.
Legal terms or the actual
legal terms.
Okay.
Well, legal terms. Sometimes it'll be that, but there's also another legal definition that people really usually don't know about, which is, a person can also refer to a corporate-like entity, a legal fiction, if you will. For example, if you sue Target, Target is obviously a corporation. There's not a human being whose name is Target. You're suing the corporation named Target. So what happens is that usually with the establishment of a birth certificate, you get a birth certificate, that identity document begins or starts your legal fiction that is what you think of as your name. and that legal fiction it represents you. It's also known vernacularly as your straw man, but that is your person. So hence why in one of Robert Menard's videos, actually he had a video series at one point called Fundamentals of Freedom, which I put together all the different portions of it. So I was the guy who put together the full mirrored versions. But even he had one lesson that was called People Aren't Persons, which was actually interesting. But
because a person would be like a personal entity, right? Like we're talking commercial entity.
Well, yes. And so there is the legal definition, and it does exist, that a person is a corporate or corporate-like entity, where it is a fiction. It doesn't actually exist in reality. It's just kind of a made-up agreement of some kind that's not based in reality. It's an illusion, in other words. But unfortunately, in order to deal with business, in order to deal with these courts, where so far it would seem to suggest, based on the work of other people, especially Jordan Maxwell, that indeed we don't actually have normal courts in the sense. Of course, that's its own subject, is on admiralty jurisdiction versus common law jurisdiction. That's its own separate subject altogether we can go on forever about. But keep
again,
it simple.
like what I mentioned before, like the gold trim flags that are now being presented inside of courtrooms, which is only used in a court-martial tribunal. So.
Well, yeah, and I noticed, and I remember there was actually a couple other judges that would, for example, remove the U.S. flag that has the gold fringes on it out of the room in an attempt when, like a freeman in the land or a sovereign citizen type or one of those type of folks would be arguing about, oh, this is a military court, and then they would move the flag out of the room just in spite of the guy. But yeah.
It looks like Unckle Buck's here now, too. Let me see if I can get his mic there. Hey, Unckle Buck, you made it.
Hey guys, sorry I had to make a fashionably late appearance here. I'm a working man, you know what I'm saying?
Well, we were thinking Sleepy Salsa was here trying to give legal definitions of like what a person is, what an act is, like, the acts of Congress and such. So he was being very helpful on going over some basic things that most people I think are quite unaware of.
Okay, great.
Well, Sleepy Salsa, you also want to go ahead and give your details and hang in there if you want to, because I'm sure y'all two will probably get along in this conversation quite well. But you want to go ahead and give everybody in the chat room and stuff your contact information, your YouTube channel and such?
Yeah, my YouTube channel is the same as my handle. It is Sleepy Salsa, SLEEPYSALSA. And thank you very much.
You're going to hang out though, right, Sleepy? Or did he already hang out? Okay, well, hey, Unckle Buck, how are you?
Hey guys, I don't know who's in the chat room because I'm in my 18-wheeler and I'm parked in Florida, and, I want to say this is the probably, other than, the search for extraterrestrials or, what can I say, is there a Christ or not, this is the single most important subject you're ever going to discuss, I think.
Very, very cool. Well, I know, like, my YouTube, I talked about, we always hear the word sovereign issues, I don't know if sovereignty is a good word for it, though.
Well, let me say this, guys. I mean, where do we start?
I know, right?
Do we have any folks in the chat room or anything like that?
Oh, yeah, there's people in the chat room. We got a couple people on the switchboard, and the number keeps growing, so...
Okay, well, the reason I asked that is if you have any questions, feel free to call in, and I'd like to expand upon this because this is huge, man. Let me tell you. First of all, I think a good place to start is the founding of the country, okay? And there's a lot of different opinions on sovereignty and your right to exist minus or in step with the current government. Well, first of all, after we won our freedom from the British, we were broke, okay? So we tried as best as we could to exist as a brand new little tiny country, and we were like, man, we got to do commerce here. We got to do business. And nobody would really do business with us because we owed all this money to really the other powers that be. Which was mostly the French, okay? So I'll say this. There's a bombshell for you guys. We were only free for 7 years. That's it. Okay? And then we couldn't continue on as a country anymore. We had to get our debt paid. So we said to France, who we owed all this money to for helping us beat the British in the war, we said, hey, guys, can we get some money from you to pay the bills that we owe to you? They're like, are you kidding me? You owe us all this money? Of course not. So, yeah, so we tried with everybody. We tried with everybody to, get loans. Well, guess what? Who had the money back then, really? Besides France and, the old European powers, Spain, was England. So, here you go, guys. Drum roll. We said, King George, can we get a loan from you? And you know what he said? He said, sure. What do you got for collateral? And they were like, he said, I'll tell you what. He said, you guys just became a country, so you had to have a constitution, right? And they said, yeah. He said, well, how about the Constitution? So we took the Constitution and we used it as a debt instrument, as collateral to King George, who just got done fighting. We took the Constitution, the rich of our country then, and basically put put it in hock. So the king had all these stipulations because back then we wanted real money. We wanted gold and silver money, and we wanted real gold and real silver. So the king said, okay, great. Well, one of the things I want to do is I want title to everything. I want title to sovereignty of America. Now, people are like, what? Are you kidding me? I'm not kidding you guys. We were only free for 7 years as a republic. And so people get into this, Barack Obama, he doesn't need to be, he has no birth certificate. Well, it's actually just fine. And I'm no Barack Obama fan per se. I think he's probably a nice guy to have a drink with or, play basketball with. But here's the thing. When we did this, of course, they also imposed all kinds of restrictions because one of the things they want was to get into our legal system. And there already were, even up to this point. So there's anybody out there, and you can Google it pretty easy, but the Bar Association in our legal system, all your attorneys have to be members of the bar. Okay? So the bar, okay, they are the British Accredited Registry. So it's all these attorneys you hire, they're members of, they're noble. And our Constitution, of course, says the nobility would be recognized. So that's why they sign the little ESQ behind their name. And it's of course, Esquire. And you have to go over this stuff in order to understand where we're at. But this gets really exciting. So there's a difference between an attorney and a lawyer. Is the lawyer is considered a layman, a man understanding law and the law of the Constitution, common law, that was common amongst men. Well, attorneys, of course, being a member of nobility, being a part of the crown, okay, they set themselves aside from the common man. So we get going, and from what I can understand is this bankruptcy, when a country does a bankruptcy, basically, which we did, is it goes to 70 years, some say 72 years, some say 77, but in and around 70 years of a cyclical nature. Well, 2005, just by the way, we reached the tier level 5 of international bankruptcy. And by the way, guys, almost all big countries, like, all of them, they operate in bankruptcy. Yes. The only ones that don't are like, small African tribal countries that are like, not what we consider a country. But we get up to 1913, of course, and everybody knows about the Fed got passed as a central bank, which all the founding fathers were against. And what they did was, in 1933, of course, they had the power of money, power to coin money. And Congress says our Constitution, which was really null and void, by the way. We were operating, after we sold the Constitution, as like an emergency war powers country. We were under martial law. So the president, basically, and how we're operating as a Congress, we're not even under the Constitution now. We're acting as an emergency red alert country because we're broke. So that's another way that all these executive orders are getting through, and the power of the president. We're like on the brink. We have been all the way since 70 years after our founding. But after we got the Federal Reserve in, and the Rockefellers famous quote, "I care not who makes the country's laws, give people power to make that country's money. That's all they care about." Well, so 1933, we of course did the House Joint Resolution 192. That's where they seized everyone's gold and silver. Okay? And who got the gold and silver? Everyone needs to know that. Well, I tell you this, the IMF did, the International Monetary Fund. Okay? Well, the King and Bank of England got a lot of it, so on and so forth. But the IMF, which is the World Bank, basically got all of our money, our real money. But in order to do this, to create a law of black and take your citizens' money, they always have to provide a remedy. And how are you supposed to pay your bills if you've got no money? So another point is there is no money in circulation. And then people really have a hard time grasping that there's no money. Okay? So these things that Federal Reserve prints up is lead promises know. They're promises to pay. They're promissory notes.
Yep, they are notes. It even says Federal Reserve note.
Yeah, and it says legal tender. And that's kind of an interesting term. And here's another thing. Nobody can really define, even Black's Law Dictionary graphs this or grapples with it, is the word note. It's really interesting. It can mean a bunch of different things. It's interesting that they chose a note, Federal Reserve note.
Language. I think that's why it's so important just to go over. Yeah, it's basically like Sleepy Salsa just said. It's basically an IOU.
Yeah, but it is what we were given to operate with. Now, this Federal Reserve notes were between you and me. They were for really private arrangements, okay? Like you cut hair or you do tattoos, whatever. So let's just say cut hair. And I transport goods. You were to take those private notes after 33, and you were to pay me to transport some goods somewhere, and I would say, okay, great, I'm going to pay you to get a haircut. But here's the thing, guys. All of our public debt was meant to be discharged because in 33 they took the money. The remedy was, how are we going to continue on in commerce if we have no money? Well, the Federal Reserve said, we're going to use the people. They're going to be the collateral. So when you and I were born, you've probably heard this, but the birth certificate was created, and then we get into the word birth. All women that have had babies never gave birth. Birth is an admiralty term, a ship's term, a ship's birth. The children were born of the woman, okay? They never give a birth. So we got to understand, too, in 33, it withdrew all the lines of the sea, the law of the sea, all the way back into the absolute pinpoint of America. The lines were drawn back. And really, some people say Washington, D.C., but so they also
Unckle Buck?
Yeah.
You want to start with, since I think the beginning of life, birth, and being born, whatever term is going to be best here, should be a good way to start right after a break. What do you say?
Sounds good.
Perfect. I got the ads pulled up, and hey, Freedomizers, we'll be right back here with you and Unckle Buck, and we'll keep going. So hang in there.
Hi, folks. CT here. I want to talk to you about a great preparedness resource, tomorrowsharvest.com. Whether it's an economic collapse or nature's fury, there's no feeling more secure than knowing that your loved ones will be well fed. If it's time to bug out or just camping with the family, Tomorrow's Harvest offers high-quality, cost-effective, and long-term smart food storage. Get your free sample. The choices are great. From blueberry pancakes to the cowboy chili, no one else has the meal variety of Tomorrow's Harvest. They also provide other survival necessities. Check out the various packages and customize your meal supply. Remember, there's no reason for fear today when you prepare with tomorrow's harvest. Go to www.tomorrowsharvest.com and tell them you are Freedom.
Freedomizer Radio, waking people up. They have their little puppets and underlings and cliques, and pretty much every government on this planet will do their bidding as they push us into this one-world system. That's how it works. Somebody needs to carve that thing up, and I think I might be the man for the job. Be the man for the job. Waking people up. Mr. Tinfoil, waking. If I got to break down the information, waking people up. Every time I get to have this conversation, it sends them a little deeper down the rabbit hole. Look a little deeper. Freedomizer Radio, waking. Freedomizer Radio, waking people up.
Federal Reserve, you've been living hell to me. You've been robbing me since 1913. You'll run the presses till the ink is dry. Long ago, I stopped asking why. Federal Reserve, I hate every inch of you. You robbed me and you cheated me through and through. Now I'm a poorer and more destitute man. Mr. Congressman, why can't you understand? Federal Reserve, what good do you think you do? Do you think we'll all be richer when you're through? Your dollars are no longer backed by gold, and your stone walls turn my blood a little cold. Federal Reserve, may you rot and burn in hell. May your walls fall and may I live to tell. May all the world reject your fake cash. You stole our wealth, but we can take it back. You stole our wealth, but we can take it back. You stole our wealth, but we can take it back.
All right, Freedomizers, we're back here with you. And hey, I had to share one last comment that was put in right before the break, and it's from Sleepy Salsa again. He said, yay, time for the life cycle of a person, with the life cycle being in quotations, of course, but yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, this is just an overview, but this is an exhaustive, subject. It takes a lot of study, but I want to get to the good points, that make people excited, because the truth is, the truth is this, guys, is all these remedies exist for us to not have debt, okay? And people are like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, the House Joint Resolution 192 gave us the ability to discharge the debt. So people, that's a scam, because the truth is people can't believe it when I tell them. And in fact, few of them will. And they'll have fear in their hearts, and they'll go, I ain't doing that. So I'll just tell you what I do with my public debt. I send it to the Internal Revenue Service. People are like, what? Yeah. I just sent my mortgage off to the IRS to help me collect. And people are like, what are you talking about? Well, remember, and like I said, I'm just hitting some key points. There's so much to talk about because it's a huge study, is how am I supposed to pay a bill that if I don't have any money? How are you supposed to pay your bill? And anytime that you discharge your debt, you're actually doing a good thing for the country. You are eliminating the national debt. And people are like, what? Yeah, you're doing a good thing. In fact, one of the things that I found out about was the 17,000 new IRS workers that are hired. The great portion of those workers were to handle the people like me that have become secured creditors in commerce and are discharging our debt, because they're going to have mounds of this paperwork coming in. And I discharged my student loan, I discharged my house, I discharged electricity bills, I discharged, what else? Credit card debt. And so people are like, wait. You telling me that the IRS is your friend? That's what I'm telling you. And they're like, oh.
Yeah, everybody else's worst nightmare has become your best friend.
Yeah. And let me tell you, when you start to figure this out, you walk around, and two things happen to me anyways, is you go, holy cow, and you look at your fellow Americans, and you realize, I got to tell them, they're slaves. They're the poor person, that human being's a slave and doesn't know it. And what got me into this a couple of years ago was, I had a lot more trucks than I have now, and I worked my butt off, and then a quote-unquote crash started happening of the economy. And I kicked back, and I said, something's wrong here. Something's wrong. And I even knew something was wrong with this society since I was a little boy in school, and you probably did too. You didn't like school that much. You thought it was weird, going to school. Something seemed all out of place. Mm-hmm. And the truth is, that's that little voice inside of you. The Christians will say, it's like Holy Spirit testifying to you. The New Agers will say, it's the universal consciousness. And the truth is they're both right. So, how do well, couple things. Remember, the world government has been here for some time. We're just now getting the illusion that it's taking over. And here's another thing. Society is not broke. America's not broke. It's not a bad, quote-unquote, money problem. That, oh, my God, no one's got any money. It's a depression. We hear that daily on every show, Alex Jones, whatever. It's not a depression because you got to remember, guys, there's no money. So people really like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, what bothers me is that the fact that they who create the quote-unquote money are telling us that it's a bad economy. Well, so what they're using, that old tool, to go into a new society. The stock market of 29 was fake. And then you're like, well, what do you mean it's fake? Well, remember, the money, well, and I got to say this, it was a trick to call in the gold and silver. And Gaddafi, right? Gaddafi could give pardon my language, a shit about the currency. He wouldn't want to have dollars. He's sitting on tons of gold because that's what they use. They use gold and silver. So, this is a tool that's being used right now to change our economy. And that's very critical to what's going to happen to you as a U.S. citizen. Now, in 33, of course, during the bankruptcy, they had to do what? Well, you've got to emerge from it. And what they decided to do was do USA Incorporated. Well, the USA Incorporated, was a whole different country. So they had to have money to function. That was you and I. And there's actually two different countries. There's the America that was founded, and then there's USA Incorporated. Well, that's everybody 33. So all of you folks that are not secured creditors in commerce are basically, members of the corporation.
So you're employees of the Corporation of the United States.
Yeah. And so I decided to give up that.
Please also ask a quick question. So the incorporation of the U.S. was in 33?
Well, it might have been 35. There's the Economic Security Act of 35, but I believe it was in and around 33. No one exactly knows, but somewhere in that time period. It's important, but it's not that important. We have to understand there is a corporation.
And he also asked, being an employee, having a Social Security number?
Well, yes, but there's a very upside to having a Social Security card, guys, and it's a Social Security number. And this is where a lot of freemen get into debate. Well, you can become a sovereign, as they like to say, or a free man, and say, you know what? Fuck you. I'm not participating in the system. Well, I advise you highly not to do that at this point, because if you do, you become an adverse, combatant, or a, I was going to say something, non-adverse, non-combatant, and belligerent party. So remember, off that Social Security card, if you turn it over, there's those little red numbers on the back. That is access to your birth account number, or your birth account. Some people call it a bond, which is fine. I don't want to make it too complicated. So if you don't have one of those numbers on the back, you need to go to the Social Security office. You need to get one, because you need to find those numbers. And there's probably several offset accounts off of your birth certificate. There's probably, as far as we know, there could be 10, 20 numbers. They all access that original birth certificate. So why is that important? Well, remember that remedy, which is under House Joint Resolution 192, they had to give us a lawful way to pay our bills. So here's the big thing. You have to have the ability to access your account to pay your bills. And people are like, what?
Yeah, right.
You don't want to not pay your bills. You want to be non-adverse, non-combatant, and non-belligerent. You want to say, hey, I found the remedy. Thank you so much, my Congress back then in 33. Thank you. I wish you had told me earlier, but you gave me a way to pay my public debt. And everything is in debt because we're bankrupt. Everything's public debt. And so
technically we were sold, and the money that was made by selling us is something that we have all rights to.
Yeah, because the money, we're the creditors, you and I, the citizen, and the money we have, its only intrinsic value is the sweat of our brow. And I always say law and spiritual scripture are very reflective of one another. One is derived from the other. So and this is what I like to say myself, God, quote unquote, kicked Adam and Eve out of the garden. He said, you'll make your living now by the sweat of your brow. You'll till the ground for the rest of your life. Well, that's exactly what the Federal Reserve said. Hey, you know what? We got these people, and they're going to have labor. And they went to the IMF, and they said, yeah, these people work. And so that's going to be our collateral. Well, the IMF said, oh, I see. Yeah, okay, we're doing that with other countries. Sure, that's the World Bank. So
what we're getting to, because he did ask a question, but I'm sure this is what we're getting to, is he also asked, so how do you access this quote-unquote account? What is it called?
Oh. Sorry, I'm chewing.
No, it's all good.
It's your bond. It's your birth certificate. Now, remember, you got one birth certificate, but they've made many offset bonds on it, okay? There'll be many sub-accounts. Because the Fed, as we know, is into fractionalizing or modern money mechanics. They fractionalize everything. $1's not $1, it's $10. $10 is not 10, it's 100. 100's not 100, it's 1,000. So you want to work with our Treasury. You want to work with our Treasury. You don't want to stay giving them a middle finger, because, believe it or not, guys, there are agents of the IRS that sit at the U.S. Treasury and hope and pray that you discharge your debt. They can't tell. They're not lawfully allowed to give this information. And remember, the powers that are put us in this slavery, that don't want you to know this, they don't want you to know, okay? Because that means they're losing their control over you, man. I mean, Chase Bank sends you a credit card bill. They say, well, we're gonna give you a credit line. Nickie Nix, we're gonna give you a credit line of $10,000, baby. And you're like, ooh. So you go out and you start spending, right? Well, here's the illusion. No money was ever given to you from Chase Manhattan. There's another one, guys. The banks have no money. You're like, well, where the fuck did they get the money? Well, I'll tell you where they got it from. They went to the Fed. The Fed said, here's the bond, the birth certificate. Let's create money off of Nickie Nix. You took a loan of that $10,000 out.
Against myself.
Yeah, well, then we get into, there's two yous, just like there's two Americas. Okay? So that's what we would refer in the layman's terms as your straw man. But I encourage you not to call it that. I encourage you to call it your corporate fiction. Okay? So your corporate fiction, that is Nickie, but it's not Nickie. Just like USA Incorporated is the USA, but it's not America. So, in order to administrate the bankruptcy, the courts had to play a huge role. They had to change the court system because justice is dispensed by the courts. So, they changed from a common law system or a court of record, which was under the Constitution. They changed it to the Admiralty Court system, is what I was just jumping in on there, and I was listening to Sleepy Salsa. Well, this Admiralty Court, of course, he was correct. You know, you see the little gold flange hanging off the flag. It's a military tribunal court. We're functioning under these military powers right now. And it can be in there, and it cannot be in there. Mostly it is, those flags. But some of them are not, believe it or not. And it doesn't matter, because these courts, of course, are called the Uniform Commercial Court. Okay? And they have uniform commercial codes. Those codes are not law, but they're legislation. So they function under what? They function under the USA Incorporated. So when you get a summons to a court, that's an invitation. Please come to the ball tonight. And you go, holy shit, I got a summons. Oh, my life's going to fall apart.
Especially when you see federal attached to it, you know?
Oh, I look forward to federal summons myself. So, because I know the remedies. I'm learning more every day. I'm not the all end-all of end-alls, but it's a daily study habit for me. But when you get this, invitation to get married to the UCC, the court, you can do two things. You can, one, send it right back to the court clerk, take it down there yourself, get a receipt if you can, and say, no, thank you. I wish to waive that benefit. And then they'll be like, what the frick? What do we do? The dude is taking back our summons and handing it back to us. That's the first step I would do. Because, unless you're a super skilled lawyer, and I didn't say attorney, I mean a common man that knows the UCC system, they want you to come into the den and the synagogue of Satan, if I may be so bold, and to try to tiptoe through there and not get bit by 1,000 vipers. It's not easy. So, these UCC courts, they're the corporational courts. Are you a corporation, Nickie?
Depends on who you ask. Personally, no, I'm not.
Well, here's the thing, guys. They want to identify you as your birth certificate. That's the corporation. That's how they're making money. So how can you, Nickie, the flesh and blood person, show up in their court? Well, the truth is you can go down with your body, but you're not the Nickie that is being addressed on your driver's license, on your bills that you get. And there's some companies now doing some sneaky stuff with bills, by the way. You look at all the caps, all the capital letters. That's the straw man. That's the corporate fiction that when you're sent a presentment, which we'll use the maritime word bill, okay, a bill of lading. In fact, I'm a commercial trucker, so I have bills of lading. But the bill is saying, or a notice, it's not us. So I'm getting a repeat package here. Hello? Nickie Nix. Testing 1.
Sorry about that. I was grabbing some water. My lizards were thirsty, so I had to refill their bowl. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. I just couldn't get myself for feedback.
Yeah, and you know, plus you're eating as well. Yeah, I think my speakers came on. I'm about to put the headset back on, so there might be a little bit of a repeat right now.
Okay. Well, so what I'm telling you here today, guys, is you have the ability to discharge your car payments, your credit cards, your mortgage note, anything that you've been paying on. You're able to have the IRS tap the account and pay the bill for you. People are like, what is it? Now, see, there's other freemen, sovereigns, as they may refer to themselves, that want to put the finger up to the government and say, oh, I'm a countryman, fuck you. Pardon the language. Well, you're quickly going to find yourself as an adverse, combatant, belligerent party. And you're quickly going to find the bad guys in the IRS descending upon you with, you know, their machine guns, their swivel-mounted MAC-10s, MAC-12s, you know, and knocking on your door. You don't want that. Here's the thing. You want to claim your right as an American, not a U.S. citizen, and you want to help the Treasury, and you want to restore our republic. There's actually, it's like anything else, you know, the yin and the yang, the good and the bad. You want to restore the republic, then you need to become a non-adverse, non-belligerent, non-combative secured creditor in commerce. So you're basically going to file paperwork, and I'll just give it a quick rundown. There's an omniversal security agreement. There's a UCC filing, a UCC1 filing, and there's a couple others that people argue about, but I did a power of attorney general over my birth certificate. You want to file basically a copyright of your name, and some people do a Ninth Amendment declaratory judgment, a notice. But just give me a quick overview. If you do these things, you're sending this...
Sweetie also has a quick question about citizen. What's considered a citizen?
Well, a citizen is those folks that have chosen to remain in the corporation, okay, but haven't filed their offset, their standing. They have decided not to take advantage of the House Joint Resolution 192 and basically discharge their debt through having the first-in-line authority over their birth account. They've chosen to let someone else, the incorporation, administer the funds. So, which, if you want to do that, you're out of your mind, but that's okay. Most people will continue to be out of their mind. And when you tell them this, they're like, no way, dude. No way. This can't be real. I mean, I'm going to get in trouble. You want me to send my mortgage to the IRS to get them to collect and pay it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do. But only if you file the proper paperwork. And you must know what you're doing, because all those little vipers waiting to bite you, you're not supposed to have knowledge. In fact, your Bible, Hosea 4:6, as we get into more spiritual, ancient texts, because of their lack of knowledge, my people perish, some say. Some texts say, because of lack of knowledge, my people are destroyed. So you've got to be what? You've got to be knowledgeable. And then we get back to Catholicism, which, by the way, is very alive and well in our court system. And I'm not a Catholic, but Catholicism was, priests would administer the, church services, let's say, in Latin to the commoner of, way back. Well, the commoner didn't even know how to read or write, maybe, in the hell if he knew how to speak Latin. Okay, so he just said, hey, whatever they say, I'll do this, I'll get on my knees, I'll cross my chest.
Right.
And then
most people aren't even slightly aware, which is why I think it's very important to follow words back, go back to certain meanings, and actually find the original languages.
Oh, yeah, jump in here, because I want to take as many questions as I can. But
yeah, there was another one about, if you were aware, about the FBI not liking, of course, this kind of stuff, and he said, but the FBI would not like the quote-unquote redemption stuff. Are you familiar with anything like that?
Oh, sure. That's being commercially redemptive is, remember, yin and the yang. There's an enforcement arm of the FBI, and there's a part of the FBI that are like the good guys. But if you are belligerent, adverse, and combative, they're going to really, who runs the show, by the way, is the IRS. They're the collection arm of the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and they're the best collection agency on planet Earth. And it's funny, most other countries have heard of the IRS, but we haven't heard of, Inland Department of Revenue of England, have we? So, but they know the IRS, so I think it's quite astounding. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Because you're functioning as a non-adverse, non-belligerent, non-combative. You're not going to give or take away from the Internal Revenue Service or the United States Treasury the ability to create money to keep us functioning in this red alert emergency bankrupt system. But if you try to do that, there's two things that will happen to you. You may get away with it for a while, or B, you will be warehoused, which they'll cash in on your work, your labor of the natural man, and still have the control of your birth certificate, your account. Or the other one is they, let's put it this way, for the real adverse belligerent freemen, they'll cancel your corporation. You understand?
Yeah,
and then they'll cash in on the insurance policy. Yeah.
Which most people don't seem to realize how easy it is to actually get a policy on another person.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I don't expect everyone should research, but here's the thing: is we know that many of your birth certificates are owned by large corporations. They're traded
and military organizations as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just kind of scared around that, but yeah. They use them as money instruments on Wall Street. Right? Now, I've explained this to you before, Nick, personally and privately, but when you go and you cash your paycheck, you take it to the bank. You of course, everyone wants your signature. You get pulled over for a ticket, cop wants your signature, promise to appear. He wants it for more than that because he doesn't even know that he wants it for that, but the upper people in administration know. So you take your paycheck, you sign the back of it, you endorse it, you cash it. The bank then takes it to the Federal Reserve and says, hey, I want the reimbursement because we doled out this many Federal Reserve notes to this person. And I call that asset money, by the way. And the Federal Reserve says, no problem, goes into your birth account and takes that paycheck, say it's $1,000, and they add it. But they don't add just 1,000. They'll add like 10,000. They'll fractionalize it to the account. Then they'll pay the bank back its $1,000. Bank gets reimbursed, and then some. But everyone who cashes any paycheck, any check, anything like that, they hold on to all of our promissories, our signature endorsed checks, whether it's, $100 to pay your obstacle bill, whatever. And they hold on to them, the Federal Reserve does, for 36 months. They pool them all together, and they claim it as abandoned property after 36 months, and they turn them into money. So thousands, millions of people writing checks. All that goes back to the Federal Reserve. They fractionalize it. They take it to the IMF, and they create more fake money. Now, the IMF, the World Bank guys, so the New World Order's been here for some time. In fact, go ahead.
Well, actually, we're about to have to take a quick break because we're at the top hour, and
Yeah.
Chris also has another question as well, so I figured we'll come back with that question.
Oh, wonderful.
Awesome. So all that I'm going to do is play a quick song because my son's in the bathroom, and I'm sure nobody wants to know what I got to go do right now.
Oh,
So,
sure.
hey, if I don't make it back before the end of the song, would you mind I'm going to leave your mic open if that's okay with you.
Sure.
I appreciate it. And guys, Freedomizers, we'll be right back with you. Here's a Payday Monsanto, just because I think it's a little bit longer. So, guys, we'll be right back. Hang in there.
The desire to enslave our fellow man is unfortunately intrinsic to the human character. It has been with us since the beginning of time on every continent and in virtually every culture. From ancient Egypt to Babylon to Greece and Rome, Africa, Asia, Europe, and the United States. It's a disease of our human nature, yet people are under the impression that it no longer exists.
As long as you behave like a slave, you'll remain in the jacket to keep you straight and grip you up in court like a racket. represented. Ain't it fantastic? Your attorney and your judge study the same magic. You are an infant, a person is unsound. They give you life vests, take it off and you will drown. At least that's what they try to teach you. They give you A and B, I don't subscribe to either. You should see stone cold through their fallacy when they try to control the debate with a duality. Pick one and you think you got a choice. You've essentially squandered your motherfucking voice. I talk to the masses to see what I find, and eventually I gathered 500,000 like mine. Fuck 1,000,000 men, there's 100 more times than what you thought. That consensus was created by crime. Your First Amendment is entered in a doornail. Speaking your mind will get you fined or more jail. We're building bombs that you wouldn't believe. You want the right to bear arms, roll up your sleeves. Your First Amendment is entered in a doornail. Speaking your mind will get you fined or more jail. We're building bombs that you wouldn't believe. You want the right to bear arms, roll up your sleeves. As long as you behave like a slave, you'll remain in the basement, lost in a labyrinth of your enslavement, wandering in a CIA-approved arrangement, listening to a blabbermouth for entertainment. The true fame, what it's cracked up to be. Patriots are manufactured in a factory. Most so-called hate groups they've all been to. ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center. You might hear my words ungodly and jest, but you don't know about the wicked Dr. Jolly and West, who looked after Tim McVeigh right up until his death. Sirhan, Jack Ruby, and probably the rest. Some say Oswald was just one lone nut. Others will say the CIA murdered JFK, so what? The human animal makes me want to channel Lord Milner and execute everybody who's off kilter. All that dollar, that's what they're saying. Free to be brought down. And they ain't playing. Fluoride in your water, that's what I'm saying. That's in your town. I ain't playing. All that dollar, that's what they're saying. Free to be brought down. And they ain't playing. Fluoride in your water, that's what I'm saying. Monsanto is in your town. And I ain't playing.
I am what I am, and that's all that I am. And I am not capable of bowing to a man. And I am not capable of grand jurisdiction. Especially considering the fact that you're a fiction. Especially considering the fact you ain't real. And I'm flesh and I'm blood and I breathe and I feel. And I'm here and I'm now. I exist in this time. And the only place that you exist is the mind. And the only evidence of your existence is paper. I'm 80% water. You ain't even made of vapor. You ain't nothing but a figment of the imagination of men and women whose opinions held as legislation. But how does that opinion then create an obligation upon an autonomous sovereign without a nation? I'm saying, as a king I stand above your law, and it doesn't even matter whether or not I cross your bar.
The First Amendment is better than the doornail. Speaking your mind could get you fined or more jail. We're building bombs that you wouldn't believe. You want the right to bear arms? Roll up your sleeves. Your First Amendment is better than the doornail. Speaking your mind could get you fined or more jail. We're building bombs that you wouldn't believe. You want the right to bear arms? Your beloved America's the British colony de jure. The king funded both sides of the Revolutionary War. The people does not include you. You're a whore. You can verify that in Darren vs. Baltimore. Look on your deed and you'll see the word tenant. Slaves cannot own property, just rent it. Social Security's in place to enslave us. The trust fund, they blew it. Stewart versus Davis. It's all typed out in black and white. Decided very long ago how you'd react and fight. Contingency plans were drawn up exact precise on how to distract your nights from the facts of life. They polarize the people to attack and fight within groups searching for truth and hijack the plight. I knew a few patriots who lacked the price. One of them's drunk in a lounge singing Mac the Night. The other two have disappeared unheard of. Some say suicide, others say murder. Watch out for patriots on the radio. Many know the truth, but they simply won't say it though. I ain't looking for beef, cause most of you friendly. But Alex Jones seen juices his culture resending. Another money bomb, how much can you lend me? What can I get with 3 quadrillion pennies? Your First Amendment is better than a doornail. Speaking your mind will get you fined or more jail. We're building bombs that you wouldn't believe. You want the right to bear arms, roll up your sleeves. Your First Amendment is better than a doornail. Speaking your mind will get you fined or more jail. We're building bombs that you wouldn't believe. You want the right to bear arms, roll up your sleeves.
The Jewish people seem to run 90% of all the media and all of the Hollywood movies.
All right, thanks for the call. Everybody hates the Jews. Oh my God. By the way, Larry didn't say he hated the Jews.
Question, why are you still breathing? I mean, why haven't you really just taken a toaster oven and thrown it in the bathtub with yourself and had a party? Because that's what you need to do.
I mean, Eddie Foxman of the GADL admits that the 8 largest movie studios are run by Jews. Joel Stein also do it. Joel Stein says a part of the Jews on Hollywood and the movies and the media.
And Jason, please don't call yourself the info warrior if you don't even know those basic facts.
didn't stop. He was asked by reporters, the Jews own Hollywood, and he looked at the reporter like he was nuts. He said, well, of course the Jews run and own Hollywood. So what? According to Jensen Vermis, do you even dare to say that the Jews run Hollywood?
Hey, Freedomizers, actually made it back. So, hey, Unckle Buck. Apparently, I made it back before he did. But I'm sure he probably didn't realize his mic is muted.
There we go. I had it on mute. I was doing stuff.
Yeah.
Well.
Hey, we always still have a life. That's the beauty of Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, no, it's great for the common man and woman. And so we'll get back to our subject here. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it's like you had one more question. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to.
All right. So the whole part of where you were going before the break, he asked, would this be considered reclaiming your straw man as opposed to filing a notice of understanding and intent and a claim of right?
Well, yes, the two are the same. But I encourage you to quickly lose the wordage straw man. Okay? You get laughed out of a UCC court till their heads fall off. They don't recognize it, okay? But you want to get used to the word corporate fiction. And we know if after we're dealing with stuff, what when we say straw man, because it's so much easier to say straw man instead of corporate fiction. So you really want to address that. And yes, that's similar paperwork, but here's the thing. Paperwork is very critical because these guys are into dotting the T's and crossing the I's. So if you begin this process without much knowledge, it's kind of like, Indiana Jones and the guys before him that go in there and try to, steal that, treasure. They don't have all the knowledge he has, and they die. He finds them, crushed against a wall or something. So there are several approaches to this, but we have got to always remember at this point, we need to be non-combative. We need to dance with them. We need to be gentlemen and gentlewomen.
And realize that you better be nice, because people don't like you when you're not nice. I mean, we don't even respond. We don't even respond well when people are just being rude and, come on. So, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Please interrupt me, because I feel like I'm just a big hog here. But, where we were here. So discharging your debts. So there's very technical paperwork, in my opinion, that needs to be filed. We look at a lot of the people in the past that say, there's no law to pay taxes. Well, I encourage you to pay your taxes. Please pay them, because you're helping out the Treasury and you're reducing the national deficit. Our Treasury needs to have that money to pay on the national debt. But remember, your taxes are public debt. You can use the remedy to discharge the taxes. I'll go in and I'll probably get nailed this year for $20,000. I say, fine, send me the bill, and I make the bill out as a U.S. Treasury note, and I send it back, and I access my strawman. They're smiling, I'm smiling, and my taxes get paid. So they also have on-the-books money and asset money as well. So all the other taxes you're paying besides income tax is, sales tax, this tax, that tax. So they're making asset money all the whole year anyways. So they're very happy about that. But I encourage everyone to pay their taxes. Do it through discharging it as you're allowed to under House Joint Resolution 192. Don't do it with your asset money because,
they were already stolen.
What's that?
They were already stolen.
Well, your asset money is when you go to work, like I'm trucking a load of peanut butter here over to California, and I'm going to get paid asset money. It's going to show up little Federal Reserve notes, and I'm going to have these little pieces of debt paper running around in my pockets, and I'm going to turn them in for different things. But the public debt is everything else. Now, a lot of people have taken this to other levels, and it's fine because it's allowed. Like when you buy a car, you go in there and you take some of your asset money, you put a down payment on it. It was a dealership, let's say, not a private party. And you pay on that car for about 90 to 120 days. Well, that becomes cured then, okay? It becomes public debt because Toyota or Ford or Chevy, who the hell you buy it from, they didn't have any money to lend you. They just lent you your money. So then after paying off for about 3 or 4 payments, you're going to discharge the debt through your treasury account again. And they welcome you, and they want you to. But you can't. Now, there's people that have gone in and have purchased a car outright and did their own notes. Some of them got away with it, but I would say be careful because then you can get arrested for using a process to just, I want this, I'm going to do that. You got to let it cure. You got to let it. And look up the word cure. Everyone has got to get Black's Law Dictionary. You need to get them online. You've got to look up these words because, like you said, Nikki, the words and their meaning are so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you must know what words to use. So, if anybody's going to court,
Even just go back simple, because most of the legal wording is done in Latin, right? I mean, so we're talking something that's the basis of all the Romance languages, which 6 or 8 of them. So it's not like it's a bad thing to learn, especially being here in the U.S. We don't tend to learn a second language anyway, so we're not Latin.
Right, exactly. And these are the languages that, that were dispensed to the peasants, and we're really peasants, and we don't know legalese. Now, if you start to figure this out, guys, you start to realize that attorney you hired, when you hire an attorney, you become a ward of the court. So Nikki goes, she hires this attorney to help defend her. The court thinks she has the mind of a child. And they go, oh, and then also the court, the UCC court, says, oh, you hire the attorney, a member of the bar, the British Accredited Registry, a member of royalty. So you have already contracted with them and consented with them to do business. You don't want to do that. And what you want to do is you want to be pro se. You want to, quote unquote, go in there as a free person and be your own counsel. Okay? That's pro se. P-R-O-S-S, I think it's E. Maybe it's 2 E's. But anyways, when the judge comes in and he says, the bailiff takes on the lineage of the judge for the moment. This is Honorable Jack Shit. Please rise. And everyone gets up. Yeah, and they rise. Right there, they've contracted with the Uniform Commercial Court to do business and came under their jurisdiction. So, but guys that have a little knowledge, and ladies, they stay seated. And they go, the bailiff might go, I said, please rise. And he just stays seated. And then he's like, he's been a bailiff for a while. He might understand what's going on. And then after a while, the judge will say, come to order, ding, ding, ding. They'll say, okay, Nickie Nix, one of the clerks or recorders will go through everyone's name. Here, are you here? Nickie Nix here. And then you'll say, I'm the authorized representative making a special appearance as Nickie Nix. And I wouldn't say as Nickie Nix, but I'm the authorized representative making a special appearance. They'll say, are you Nickie Nix? They'll say, I'm the authorized representative. Are you the person, Nickie Nix? I'm the authorized representative. Now, they're going to raise their voice. They're going to lose their minds. You stay calm, and you never address them as your honor, because it's your honor, not theirs, okay? I like to say sir or ma'am, because I'm not giving him authority. I'm not consenting to any kind of authority over me. I, being a secured creditor in commerce, free man, am the highest in the court. I am outside of that court, and it's in common law. I'm in both ships. I got my foot over in my ship, and then they've invited me with that beautiful little, summons, and I've parked my ship next to theirs, and I have one foot on their ship. But I'm going, and I'm the captain of my ship, and they're the captain of that ship, the judge, okay? The magistrate, whatever. And so they'll say, and a lot of them at that point will dismiss you because they realize you won't consent to making them basically have power over you. So what they'll do is they'll gather up their crap, and then they'll say, call for a recess, and the prosecutor and everybody will leave, and they'll leave once. And people are like, yeah, kicked ass. No. Then they'll come back. And they'll come back because they'll start like a whole new system that they never asked a question. And you'll still be standing, and they'll say, Nickie Nix, sit down. And you just say, I'd like to waive that benefit and privilege of this court. I said, Nickie Nix, sit down. And you're like, thank you, sir. I would like to waive the benefit and privilege of this court. And the bailiff will be like, what the hell am I going to get ready? And then the prosecutor will then attempt to make what? Attempt to make jurisdiction and say, I move to go contempt of court.
Yep, contempt of court. Always contempt of court.
Right, because they're trying to establish for the judge. And that's what's
You want power to be held. That's the thing. They're wanting to institute the power, but you have to submit.
Right, because you hold all the power. So that's going to make you pee your pants, and they're going to say, you know what, contempt of court is, you're going to go to jail. And you say, I'd like to waive that benefit. And then they will leave again. Now, this is the last time the judge will leave. I mean, this is twice now he's left, let's say. And then if he leaves one more time, which you want him to, but on the third appearance as he arrives back out of his chambers, he sits in as the vicar of Christ under canon law, Catholic law. He sits in as a pope, and it's very critical for him and what he has to say. He can't screw it up. This is his last attempt to contract with you verbally, to have power over you. You hold your ground. And a lot of guys, what they're doing now is they're bringing in their birth certificates, they're putting them on a table, a little stand, and then they're wearing shirts that say, I am the live person. And the old English sayings were like, where blood flows and flesh grows, that means you're a live person. Yeah, see, it's magical stuff, huh? And they say, I am not the corporate fiction, Nickie Nix. And they wear it on their shirt. So the judge right away, he goes, what? Oh, one of these bastards. Yeah. So in the English system, we're part of the English system, you'll also ask for the judge's oath, to produce his oath, meaning his, how do I put it? His, like when he took an oath as a police officer or soldier to uphold the Constitution.
Yeah, you put up your fingers or your hand and you...
Yeah. Well, the group I study with, too, is there's also bonds. All these judges and lawyers are supposed to have bonds because they're in a public office. Well, guess what? Why the hell do they want to incur these costs? Us dumbasses don't know they're supposed to have bonds. He asked for the judge's oath of affirmation and or bond. And if he screws up, well, you can say, yeah, it was great, you screwed up. But you're sorry, that doesn't cut it. You have a high office, and you need to be able to access his bond and get remedy from him for taking away your justice. Well, almost no judges or attorneys, they don't have these things. And they're blown away, and they run
that's like the difference between an attorney and a lawyer. We don't seem to realize these simple little terminology, back to the language, these certain words.
Yeah.
And that's very much when it comes to a legal background, or when you step into a legal situation, these words become your lifeline, become what's important for you to be able to accomplish anything in their environment. So it's very much important for you to be, I guess, prepared, at least especially with the language, before you just throw yourself basically at the mercy of the court, because that's exactly what usually happens, is because you are. It's up to them at that point. Once you acknowledge their power over you, then you are definitely at the will of the court, which it should be the other way around.
And just remember, everything they offer you is a privilege, they like to call it. You think that word privilege, when they say it, is everything is backwards. It's a punishment. So you always say, because you're being in honor, you having your honor, and like to waive that privilege because you don't want to consent to any of their jurisdiction.
Yeah, and Cedric also wants to know if there's any other specific legal dictionaries beyond Black's that you would recommend.
I prefer the Black's Law Dictionary, and here's the other one, the Law of the Canon, of the Catholic Church Canon Law. It's a huge book. It's about, 6 inches thick. Start to study canon law. Yeah. And you're like, I'm not a Catholic.
And canon, does anybody, for those that don't know what the canon is the canon were the books that were chosen to be part of the Bible. So we're talking biblical law here. I mean, seriously.
Well, yes. And
well, in regards to the Catholic Church, but
Well, they actually, Rome has a law book, right, that governs Rome, that governs the conduct of the affairs of the Vatican, and that is the canon law. Like you can book the book of the canon law. And I'm not talking about, like the Bible, Latin Vulgate, but it's actually a source material that is derived that has been implemented with us, by the way. And the things just go deeper and deeper and deeper. I'm just trying to give the overall brief points. But
I know, and it's so hard. I mean, at first people think like 3 hours sounds, we're down to like an hour and a half almost.
Right.
We're down like an hour and 40 minutes. And people have to realize, I mean, this is so important. There's so much information to give on this kind of topic. I mean, and it's really hard. Nick, yeah, keep going. Go.
Here's the thing. Because of our apathy and our laziness, we will not step up and grab our brass ring or open the cell door that has been left open. We will not give it a push and step out because, are you kidding me? I live in this little comfort zone, and I would actually be a free man being responsible for myself. Are you kidding me? It's even better than that. You don't get 3 meals a day. Yeah, you got to go into the kitchen. You got to go into the kitchen and make as many damn meals as you want.
Yeah.
You might get fat, but my point is you tell most Americans this, their eyes will glaze over and they will go back to sleep. And that is part of the plan of servitude. So, you want to be really careful on which route at this time, and notice I say that at this time choose to become a free man or woman. I like to say free man, meaning both sexes, on the land.
Human, so come on.
Right, okay. So, let's just say, would you like that word? I'll be, of course, courteous to you and say human.
Oh, whatever.
Okay?
Well, it doesn't matter, but that man comes a part of that, so, yeah.
Yeah, well, so, and then we get into, of course, under this corporational law that you don't detach yourself, you're always a tenant, just like the song was saying. You never get to own jack crap. You always are a tenant. You're a tenant of your car. You're a tenant of your property. And you have no lordship, melodial title. You have just one. You pay. You're a renter. You rent your home for the rest of your life. You rent your car. You're always subservient to the state. The state is God. But, and by the way, going back to the judge and standing as a free.
Yeah.
Well, on the third attempt to contract with you, the judge will, if he doesn't, ask the bailiff to take you out of court, she'll do so gently and of your own free will. He'll bow to you. And that means he shows who is boss by saying, oh, you know what? You know how to, basically, you know how to get your salvation. And the judge will actually freaking bow to you. Yeah, buddy. He'll leave the court finally. Then you'll address the court and say, as I am the highest person in this court, I move to dismiss this case. So, really interesting stuff, guys. My YouTube channel is Unckle Buck 1, UNCKLE, BUCK, and the numeral 1. And
I'll put it back in there as well. I had it in there.
Yeah.
Let me find it too.
Sure. So one of the things I'm doing is I am going about helping people to restore the republic in a non-belligerent, non-combative, non-adverse way.
Republic. I love that word. I still love that word. That's like every time I hear it, at least somebody uses that instead of great democracy. And people always use the word great in front of that, don't they?
Right. So, all I can say is these damn attorneys are in on it. And, a good YouTuber I watch, and I can't remember his damn name right now, and he gets arrested for trespass at a doctor's office because he doesn't want to sign that HIPAA agreement because it means they'll sell any of your information to whoever they see fit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, I'd rather get my treatment. My appointment's at 1 o'clock, but I'm not interested in signing this HIPAA agreement. Well, the doctor refuses to see him. So he says, you can't refuse me medical attention because I won't sign this HIPAA agreement, which is a corporate sales scheme. And the doctor calls the police on, but he never tells him to leave. The cops wind up, of course, unlawfully detaining and arresting the man, and he goes to jail for 6 hours. Well,
So not having an agreement when he wanted to be treated by a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. But he wouldn't sign the HIPAA agreement, the corporational, I can sell your product to the Homeland Security, whoever else I want to.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets jailed. He gets out of court, and within the next 10 days, he's got a court date a month later, he receives like 400 letters, postcards from who? Attorneys saying, you know what, I'll make sure you don't go to jail. I'll do my best. How can I represent you? And he stuffs a stack of these. He says, these are all from attorneys off this little matter. And he says, my average attorney that would represent me was $5,000 up front. So then you're like, oh my God, I can't afford $5,000. I mean, it might be $5 million. And they're in on it too. And they don't have a clue about the law that I've been telling you about, the law. And so they're in on it in the sense of they're going to make money. They're going to pay the court its fees. He winds up saying, no, I'm not going to hire anybody. I can't even afford it if I wanted to. And remember, you hire the attorney, you become what? A ward of the court, the mind of a child.
Well, that's like having actually what? I just lost that term. It just left my head. Power of attorney over yourself.
Yeah, POGE, power of attorney general over yourself. Now, the thing is the officer in his case particularly doesn't even show up because there's no evidence. And he's all pissed. He's like, damn it, I spent all this time, all this worry. And, the cops are not taught law. The cops, in fact, I make it a point, and that's kind of a loose term, cops, law enforcement. I go around everyone I see and approach them, of course, with honor and respect. And I say, hey, I'm just doing a little survey. I go around the country. I'm just a nobody. And, but the thing I do is I ask, do you know what the Fourth Amendment is? And my God, none of them can recite it. None of them can tell me yes. It's the right to be secure in your person and your facts. No warrant shall be issued upon probable cause of those places to be specifically searched. Da-da-da. And they're like, none of them can tell me. I've got them to command-level law enforcement. They can't tell me they're captains. So it's their ignorance of what you are going to try to do as a free man, free woman, and you have to educate the law enforcement. Because, man, when you don't sit down or you don't stand up and that judge is telling you, they're wanting to pounce on your ass. They're wanting to, man, let me take him to jail. Let me handcuff him. Let me get the taser out. But you have to gently and honorably educate law enforcement. You've got to go to your local law enforcement, maybe do a class. Because, remember, they're just corporations, too. And you can find them and who invests in them.
And most of them are sitting there waiting for the federal money, hence why they apply to federal rules instead of their own local control.
Well, sure, and because everybody wants the wet signature. No commerce can come in without the signature because we're in bankruptcy.
Oh, yeah. Please sign this ticket. Please sign this.
Yeah, and they'll
What
take that
happens if
ticket.
you don't sign? You usually get taken to jail if you refuse to sign.
That's right. That is correct, and I encourage you to sign your ticket because when you sign your ticket and you become a secured creditor in commerce, you can discharge the ticket. It's public debt. They're happy. You're happy. Everyone's happy. Okay?
So for once, the catch-22 that works in the other way.
you feel free. You actually are becoming free. Now, I will say this. This is my opinion. These remedies are going to be allowed for a time. Okay? But as we discussed, there is no depression. There is no recession. Because how can there be? The money's all purple golf balls. And they can make as much as they want. And so a couple things are going to happen. They want a new society. And what they want is there's really, in my opinion, there's 3 different crime families. And they're all jockeying for the highest place. You got our central bank, China's central bank, and let's say Russia. And that's just a quick way to sum it up. So you got these 3 central banks that want to what? Want to be the boss. It's like the old Godfather. They started killing the Corleone family because, the Genoveses or whatever wanted to be the boss. Well, that's where we're about to go. So on the geopolitical war front, we're about to go into a great, great war because the Chinese and the Russians are making their move to be the boss. Now, we get into a whole other conversation on the new money, but it's going to be a remedy for a time. And all I can say is if we do not together, we shall surely hang separately.
Yeah. And it's this whole idea that differences separate us. Why do they want to? They want you to point out these differences so that, what was this big thing, you know? It's like when they came for my neighbors, but it wasn't because it was me when they came for the Jews, you know? Because I wasn't a Jew, and then I did nothing. And when they came for the store owners, but I wasn't a store owner, so I didn't do anything, right? But then they came for me, and there was nobody left to help me out. Because we don't care about our neighbors because, ooh, look, they're different. Oh no, the differences are so overwhelming. And it's a sad thought. And I hate to hear that from people.
And it's fear. It's based on fear because, oh my God, I got to summon. I mean, you don't know what to do, and this person sits way high and elevated in this UCC court. Guys, it's okay. But you need to study this. You need to do as my friend says, take your TV and smash it. Okay? And you need to start studying commercial and common law. And you need to make it a daily part because it's going to be the one thing that I know of amongst a couple of different things, but it's going to save your butt. It's going to save your butt because exactly. They want to cash in on everyone's assets.
You just broke up there, Unckle Buck.
Oh, I heard a plane fly over on your end. They want to cash in on everyone's asset money. That means the money you're making because you don't know you can discharge it.
Well, that's a pretty good mic, for real then, because, well, that plane wasn't even that loud. I have the doors open. It's too beautiful of a day. But, wow, that's a pretty good mic.
yeah, I could hear it like it was flying right next to me.
Wow.
Well, the thing is, guys, is this is just a simple overview, but as I have applied it and become out of Padawan learner school into a young Jedi, it's mind-numbing how incredible this information is. And one of the things I'm going to start doing as I exit trucking myself, down my own company, is I'm going to start helping people to continue and do this process and discharge their debts. And
if anybody wants to email Unckle Buck to get some help with that, you know, the YouTube link that I put in the chat room, follow that, and you can send him a quick message from there, and he can easily get back in touch with you. So, I mean, if you think that's the best way, I'm just saying.
No, it's great. And remember, I'm trucking, so I'm on my way back to the West Coast. I'm in Florida right now. I'll be there in a couple days, and I'll get to the emails. But I'm going to start doing this as my new business. And the reason I say that, see, you're going to make money. Well, hey, making money is important. It's production, and we need to be productive. You know, the Bible says the man doesn't work, doesn't eat, and so we need to all be productive. And
and if the money system disappears, that's not a negative thing either. It may need to be recreated, but or not recreated, or and I have a new idea for it. But the simple thing is that for now, it's like I always say, there's no issue with business. Business is not a bad thing. Business is a very good thing, and whether money is involved or not, that's what keeps us going, because we definitely need to rely on our neighbors. And when you don't, then that's what business is. When you interact, when you trade, that's business, you know?
Yeah.
And it's something so simple that most people tend to overlook. So it's not a negative thing. Maybe the way it was instituted by evil people to begin with makes the system that we currently use that way, but there are ways for us to skirt around that particular issue and still use the same format until we make it better.
Yeah, and remember, guys, we were supposed to be, after this bankruptcy, like, you know, you're good at haircutting? Great. I'm good at moving goods? That's production. And so the money is just intrinsic of our production of effort. So, you know, when something would cost, you know, as I'm being trained, so to speak, by a couple gurus in this is, you know, attorney cost that guy $5,000 represented for 45 minutes, you know, in the courtroom or less. And it's like, I want to go in as an advocate and do it for like $200 because I know people are hurting, and I know that it's my way to learn more and become much sharper and a much better Jedi, because I'm using that as experience. Because we're coming to a time where the system is going to change incredibly, and we need to know how to function as it changes as lawyers. All of us need to be lawyers. That means understanding the common law. So is anything guaranteed? I don't know. Anything is in life. It's kind of a crapshoot. But I have had success innumerably and look forward to more success on discharging my debt. And we just got to hang in there, and we got to do what was allowed for us to do under our Congress. So,
yeah, under the initial idea that it was set up under. I mean, now you got even Obama, he was going into war,
but he can't, because you remember, we're functioning under what? We're not functioning under the Constitution.
Maritime law, so.
Yeah, well, maritime law and the emergency powers of we're bankrupt, we're into actually a martial law government. And that's because we're bankrupt. So people need to understand that's USA Incorporated. I'm not even a U.S. citizen now. I'm an American, but I'm born in the state of.
You mean you might be part of yourself for once, have control over your own entity? No,
Yeah.
That's the word that most people need to pay attention to, is entity.
Right. And, so I'll just say, I spoke enough, and I'm going to do some more YouTube videos, but and I don't think particularly anybody will get rich, but I enjoy this. I enjoy understanding and dealing with this subject immensely. It's a passion of mine. So if I can help you, fantastic. And I also will be donating my services to the poor. And, because it's
I
great.
missed a break. I'm going to play a quick song, and I'm going to put in your details and everything. If you can hang on at least long enough to say something more, are you leaving me? Is that what you're getting at?
Well, I've got to conduct business and get on
Can
down
you hold
the road.
on for about 5 minutes?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, awesome. I'm going to play a quick song, take the break that I was supposed to take, and then we're going to come back and get your last details and see if there are any last questions, if you're good with that. So.
Great.
All right, well then I'm going to play, let's see if I can find some songs. We'll be right back. Freedomizers, hang in there, and Unckle Buck's going to say his goodbyes, and we'll be right back with you, so hang in there.
They are going to release a bioweapon that is going to kill almost everybody. Now I want to explain something to you. This is guaranteed. We don't tolerate no pretenders or the fun they money. I think your mentality has done a 180-degree flip. I think you like to get tied up and lashed with a whip. Turn upside down, a jack for your shit, covered in feces with thumbtacks in your lip. That's what you get when you fuck with the king. Making the wrong move and get you stuck in the bing. God bless America's the song you should sing. You're dealing with child molesters in the pedophile ring. Everything's under heavy control. From your puppet president to your petty patrol. When they protect the infrastructure, they'll be ready to roll. Fuck a mortgage foreclosure, they will lever your soul. Communication giants are spying on you from Venus. And you think it's coincidental, they own all the arenas. To know the outcome, it doesn't require genius. Verizon wireless services are interlinked with demons. I will take the curse. Throw it in reverse. All right. We don't tolerate no pretenders for the fun and money. This is bubblegum truth high. I got Veritas on my side in the end, my friend. What do you got? Probably mercury-free flu shots. You ain't touching this without oven mitts. It is too high. You have blown up in the patriot community, and it seems you've shown up with immunity at the gun rally in Austin. But you said the blacks wasn't nice in your liar suit flossing. If I see you in New York, I hope you say something. I'm not Mike from Pro-Think. I will spray something. You're a fraud, and you can no longer mask that. You can get your bullhorn and your ass cracked. You're the chosen, shepherd and deceiver, $1 million patriot to make them all believer. The new world order star wide receiver, or just the ultimate fall guy like Coach Seaver. telling you right now, most people listening to my voice right now are going to be killed by the eugenicists within the next decade. We are all dead.
You are not permitted to say the J word unless you want to die today. You could fly away like a jaybird. Your movement's been infiltrated on every level. Alex Jones has signed a contract with the devil. I have talked to several people who worked with them. They walked away in disgust, letting the dirt hit them. The legitimate truth seeker has been marginalized by self-censoring completely with scars in their eyes. It should not be that large a surprise when he tries to make Arabs a formidable villain. That is when I rip off the disguise. That is what you can get with 2.3 trillion. The Church of Jonestown doesn't drop believers. They are chasing their tails just like happy retrievers. Alex Jones is a pussy, no doubt. I never heard the words that Zakeem come out his mouth.
They are going to kill most of the world's population. The helicopters will fly over, the jets will fly over at 2,000 feet. They'll hit us, and within days, we're all going to be dead. Just destroying the republic.
All right, everybody. Nickie Nix back here with you. Let me pull in Eric, and actually I got the Punisher. Von Helston's going to come in and take over for the last hour for you, Unckle Buck. So, hey everybody.
Hey, I'm right here. All right. I'm here with
Buck for president.
yes, absolutely. No more globalists. No more same old, no more Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Get them all out of office, put real Americans into office, and go forward. And David Rockefeller and Lord Rothschild and J.P. Morgan and all them cats can go stuff themselves.
That goes along a lot with what we were talking about, right, Unckle Buck?
Yeah, you keep hearing Lord Rothschild. I'm thinking, of Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. Well, hey, Unckle Buck, you want to give some last statements, or if you want to hang out, man? I love for you to be here. I know you're busy, so.
Oh, I appreciate it. It was good talking about this expansive subject, and as more and more of you guys get notices and invitations, which we refer to as summons to attend a uniform commercial court, and get a judgment against you, and you don't show up, a de facto judgment, a default judgment because you didn't show up, and they come after you, then, give me a call, because there are remedies, and get a hold of me on YouTube, send me a private message, and that is the plan. Remember the new health care bill. You're going to owe a bill if you get any kind of aid starting in the fourth quarter of 2011. You get any food stamps.
That's right. Obamacare, too. Even health care going back to the IRS.
The IRS will be the bad guy implementators, and they want you to owe them, just like the SS wanted you to tattletale on your neighbors. So, there's a remedy out there. There is real hope, and you'll be like, that guy's crazy, but when you got them coming around to your door saying, you're getting a check from us, you need to get in the van now, because you're going to go earn what you're supposed to pay for that handout, so to speak, hand up, whatever you want to call it. And that's the society we're going to merge into. There's no more freebies. You must work for the state.
Nice.
That's harsh.
It's real. It's in the healthcare bill starting 2011, fourth quarter. So, and then you say, F you, I'm not going in the van because my legs don't work. They'll say, well, they'll pick you up and take you to a phone center. So, yeah. So become your Creditor in commerce, learn how to do it, and I'll shut up and say thank you so much. I'll hang out while I do up my logbook, and I'll listen to you and Von Helton for President 2012.
Way to go. What a nice plug. Isn't that a nice entrance?
Isn't that a nice plug? It is a nice plug. And I really am running for president, folks. It's not a joke. It's no scam. I really, really am running for president as a write-in candidate. I mean, seriously, do you really think a normal American has $1 trillion to spend on a presidential campaign? Well, of course not. So, but no, I really am a candidate. I don't have the money, but I do have the fervor. I do have the heart to try and right this ship. The ship is going in the wrong direction. We're heading straight for the iceberg, and I'm hoping to turn the ship around just in the nick of time before we smack directly into it.
Exactly. Like, oh wow, giving power back to the people. What a concept,
Yes,
right?
wow, what a concept. Yeah, kicking the UN off of our soil. The founders were very clear. No foreign powers allowed to be on our soil, folks. Not supposed to be. So the UN is a foreign power. They have an army, the Blue Helmets. They have a legislative body, which is the UN itself. And most of the countries in the UN probably don't like us, since most of the countries in the UN call us the Great Satan. So, yeah.
Which is probably not an over-exaggeration.
Well, it might not be an over-exaggeration, but if I have anything to say about it, we won't be the Great Satan much longer. Because I'll boot all the New World Order types out. They can go to Brussels. They can go hang out at Brussels and have themselves a good time.
And bomb Libya and everywhere else, right?
So whatever they want to do, you know, and they can be somebody else's problem, not because you know, I'm saying to them about the same thing I say to these trolls. I've had enough. You know.
Yeah, and at least you've been able to vindicate yourself, which is so awesome. So.
I beat my wife, I abused my child, blah, 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 none of which is absolutely true. I mean, I've had my kid on camera, I've had my wife on camera. There's not a mark on them nowhere, never has been.
And she is such the cutest little kid.
And, yeah, and she is. She really is. She's an absolute sweetheart.
And that's my problem, too, is, like, I'm out there. It's, like, seriously, like, I use my real name. And that's what I do, and my family is here. My son's always running around. Everybody always hears him. They get to see him. But that's part of this is, like, you have to be yourself. You really, really do. And it sucks when you get attacked, but at least you've been vindicated. I still like that. I like that word, too, vindication.
Yes, absolutely. But it's really interesting because one of the biggest things that's said to us truthers is, well, what are you doing to change America? Well, hey, I'm running for president of the United States, you know? So, you know, nobody can come to me and say, well, you never tried to save this country. Yeah, I did. I tried to be president of the United States. The best way to change it is from within, you know? Get all the globalists out, get all the regular Americans in there, and we can turn this country around. I absolutely believe that.
Oh, wow. Apparently, according to some people in the UK, like Ian, which thank you so much for giving us this information, tomorrow there's a massive anti-New World Order protest in central London. And like you said, hope it's not a trap. They're expecting at least 500,000 people.
Well, you know what I would love for somebody to do at that meeting? I would love for somebody at that UK meeting to get up behind the podium while that meeting is going on and say, oh, by the way, there's this guy in America who's running for president of the United States, and he's not part of the global elite. He's a common, ordinary, hard-working Joe like everybody else, and he needs your support. And I think the crowd would go nuts. I really do. I think.
Oh, right now, especially like with America's control everywhere, to hear that maybe there'd be someone that wouldn't exercise that control like power.
Somebody that wouldn't listen to Rockefeller or Rothschild or Morgan or Carnegie or any of the elites. And it would actually take America back into the original place it's supposed to be. Wow, what a concept. Following the Constitution.
You mean the Republic? Going back to the Republic? Wow.
Back to the Republic. Wow, what a concept. But yeah, somebody in that UK group that's going to be held, if somebody could get behind the podium and say, hey, I know this guy is running for president in America. He absolutely despises the New World Order, and we need to show him our support.
Yeah, and hey, by the way, guys, everybody, this is a write-in candidate, not adhering to any political party, not adhering to the political system,
Correct.
And requiring like something that maybe hasn't existed since colonial times. Because seriously, that's the way it used to be done.
Exactly right. In fact, George Washington warned us about political parties. And so, no, I am not adhered to any political party currently at all. I am just a registered independent. And I think George wanted it that way, and the other founders wanted it that way, and so that's the way I'm doing. I have no money. I am not asking for anybody's money, unless they, maybe like buy a yard sign or buy a coffee cup or something like that, whoop-de-doo. But as far as asking people for their money, no, don't want your money. I want your vote. I want your write-in vote. I want you to clearly print my name, James Paul Von Helton, on a write-in ballot, or if you're using the electronic system, there will be a third box that will be blank. You take the electronic pen and you print clearly James Paul Von Helton. 4 words, James Paul Von Helton. Helton spelled Helton. And you write that in there and submit it back to the person at the desk there, and say, here's my vote for President of the United States, and you're all done.
Yep, and for those in the chat room, I did just put in your name, and that is a little V, right?
Correct. You caught me in the middle of drinking a Mountain Dew. But
no problem.
Correct. Little V-O-N, capital H-E-L-T-O-N, and my phone is ringing.
Not a problem. So for those there, that just got put in the chat room, so you know exactly how to write it. There's the exact spelling. Pretty simple, actually. So, straightforward.
Never mind, it was an ad.
Solicitor, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. It was, congratulations, you just won a click.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, you won a year of this, but you got to buy 2 years of it first.
Exactly. Yeah, I won a year, whatever. Well, I don't care,
Yeah.
But anyway, whatever happened to that take me off your list stuff? I mean, it kind of disappeared, didn't it?
It requires money all of a sudden.
Yeah, apparently. So, anyway, but yeah, really I'm running for president. It's not a joke. It's not a game. It's not a facade. Really am running for president as a write-in candidate. Okay? So if you're using the electronic box, there will be a third box under the presidential banner. There'll be a third box. It'll be empty. You take the electronic pen and you print clearly. Do not write it, because if you write it, they'll say, oh, well, I can't read your handwriting. Okay, so you must print it. Print the name, James Paul Von Helton, clearly and legibly in that third empty box down there with the electronic pen. The electronic pen is typically provided when you're doing the electronic voting. And the reason I bring it up is because someone asked me about it today. They said, well, I'll probably be using electronic voting. There will be an empty box for a write-in candidate. Now, if you're using the punch cards or any other type of ballot, you will have to request what is called a write-in ballot. Okay, you request a write-in ballot, and then you clearly print my name on the write-in ballot and submit it back to the person behind the desk. Now, for those of you who are overseas, what you can do in that case is you can vote for me by absentee. Write-in candidates can be voted for by absentee. There will be people that will tell you can't. Don't listen to them. Do not listen to them. You can't indeed vote for write-in candidates by absentee. And so if that is your preference, you may do that as well. All right?
Very, very awesome.
Yeah. Yes, it
well,
is.
there's been a lot of things happening just in general. Did you ever see that commercial for the Japanese, like trying to teach kids about like nuclear boy and stuff?
No, I did not see that ad. No, I did not.
I will show you that. I'm not trying to see you while you hear the commercial. It's hilarious. I love it. They even have Chernobyl boy, and
Oh, jeez. That sounds kind of creepy.
And yeah, basically trying to prevent nuclear boy from taking a poop.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds kind of creepy.
That's the way they describe this whole situation. So I'm going to go ahead and send you that. There's that on.
Yeah, send me that out, sure. Now check it out.
I'm gonna put this for the YouTube, for the chat room as well. And I'm going to go and take us a quick break. And why not? Because we're about 5 minutes ahead. But I'm going to play another song because I have the availability to do so. So, hey guys, hang in there, Freedomizers, and we really will be right back as soon as I find what I'm looking for. There it is. All right, we'll be back, Freedomizers. Hang in there.
Sit back, little children, as I tell the tale of how democracy and freedom visited us. They were so while we were sleeping, something evil came a-creeping. Now it's hard to know exactly who to trust. It was 1913 on a Christmas day. Congress gave away its right to create cash. Now your money's only worth just what the bankers say, and you can lose your only shirt in just a flash. You see, the Federal Reserve is not a government thing. It's a bunch of private bankers we obey. And they don't answer to the people cause they pull the strings. And that's precisely why we have to sing. Hey, 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 hey. The Fed. Now, not too long ago, there was a president who tried. He was about to stick it to the lousy Fed. He made some legal tender, silver-backed in all its splendor. It's unfortunate he ended up dead. Clinton, Bush, Barack Obama, Carter, Reagan, and McCain. We argue who's the best until we drop. But whoever is elected, it all comes down the same till we see that it's the Fed we need to stop. Hey, 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 hey. The Fed. We need a president with balls, no matter white or black or female. Someone more than just another talking head. They have to stand up for our rights. They better read the Constitution when they hear the people cry for the Fed. So tell your children, if we're still around, and tell how depressions were created by a few. How the people lived and suffered while the candidates debated till the people knew exactly what to do. Yeah. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. The Fed.
All right, Freedomizers, back here with you. We got the Punisher Von Helton. On very short notice, I have to say, so I really appreciate it, but Unckle Buck definitely got busy, so we had to end that part of the show.
No problem, man. Always glad to help. And the more people that find out I'm running for president, the better. So,
right.
Works out. Works out.
Yeah. Plus, we tend to get along. We have good conversations, so I don't mind talking to you, You're such a terrible man, Barn. Come on.
I know. Horrible.
Oh, yeah.
I have to watch her in my room, and I'm trying to get him, but he's hiding behind the ceiling fan. So, as soon as I figure out how to get this little bugger, I'll do it.
Yeah, I have a little kitten here that showed up like a week before Christmas that went out and got rolled by a car recently, right? He still survived because they are very strong little animals. Spiked open his butt actually right before his ball sack, so at least he was lucky in that regard.
He's a little baby
He is the little baby kitty. So he ripped it open, and I could see like all his muscles, everything.
It's my cat.
His name's Loki, the goddess, the god of mischief.
Yes.
Right.
No, it's Seth's cat.
Yes, it is Seth's cat. There's my son. Everybody hears him. You can say hi. Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, it's fun.
And he runs back outside. Yeah.
So,
My kitten, poor kitten, has no use of his tail anymore.
mm-hmm.
Which is, like, actually probably the least of, what could have happened to him. And this is not the first. I have all tomcats. That's why I go for males, because I don't need a female having, 12 of them.
Right.
So I go for male cats for that reason. And they can go out and have fun. I really don't like getting them fixed, just because, I don't know, it's kind of against a lot of things I guess I believe in. I don't know. I tend to avoid that situation whenever necessary. So I let them go have fun and be males and be animals, be what they were meant to be. So they don't stay inside. I don't keep a cat box inside. My cats are trained outside. They definitely go that way. And they come in when they want food, when they want attention. Other than that, they are male cats outside of the house. So he's broken his tail, can't use it. So pathetic. He doesn't even have his adult teeth in yet. So he's still a little one. But, yeah.
Well, and you know what? It might actually work itself way out to where it's back working again. You never know.
Yeah, and I've tried. It's like he's got no sensation in the bottom right now, but he's starting to lift the top part of it close to his butt. So, hey, who knows? I've seen it happen many times. I actually, I had long-haired cats, during the summer because of being outside. I'd have to shave their tail because of fleas and things, because when they have long hair and they don't feel anything, that's what everything attacks. Because they don't get bitten or scraped off,
Exactly.
All right, so enough about my cat. Oh, well, there's a lot of other information. I've heard about hundreds of small earthquakes that have been over the New Madrid fault line.
Well, in fact, as I stated in a previous video on YouTube, yes, the quakes are continuing, the animal deaths are continuing, and we're building up possibly for a big pole shift or some other type of calamity.
Have you heard of information just in this regard that 2012 may have been off by a year?
Yeah. Yeah, one of the rumors going around is that supposedly if you add up all the time from all of the leap years up until now, you'll find out that we're actually off by a year, and December 21st, 2012 will actually be this December 21st, 2011, because of all the leap year, all the time missed in all the leap years that have occurred from the time of Christ until now. Is it true? Haven't got a clue.
Well, all right. See, that's the beauty of it. It's because we don't know, but we're curious, so we keep looking. And that leaves you in a state to be able to find new information, as opposed to, what science, they're I have an idea, let's prove this right or wrong. Why not go at it with, I don't know, let's find out.
Right. Well, the thing of it is, I suck at math. And so even if I had an inkling of what to do, how to do it, I couldn't do it. So, I let the bean counting to people more qualified than myself. That's the best way to do it.
Hey, Joe just told me in the chat room that it takes 6 months for the nerves to grow back. So there's a possibility it might work again, my cat's tail. Isn't that cool? 6 months.
And that's exactly what I said.
That's pretty cool.
Possibility that it might come. Animals are very resilient. Animals are very resilient. I had a small kitten that had half of its skull blown off by a high-powered pistol, and this daggone cat ended up living, man. It's amazing what the amount of the amount of resilience these animals have sometimes.
That's because they don't desire death. Look what a lot of religions and government does to people. They welcome death. Why do you think we give up so easy, you know?
Yeah, I would think so.
Well, we have the will to live, and we have the will to fight, and the human spirit tends to definitely take hold at that point.
And I would agree with that, definitely. But no, the mild tremors, earthquakes, what have you, that are still going on. There hasn't, of course, the USGS has been kind of funny here lately because
the website keeps going down.
Yeah, the website keeps going down, and not only that, but a lot of times they'll post a quake, and you go there and you check it out, and then you go back like not even an hour later, and the quake is gone. It's like, what the heck? But I found a little way around it. If you go to the animation and click on their animation, you will still see the quake. It'll still, for some reason, they keep overlooking their animation. So if you go to the animation, click on it, you'll still get the quake.
Go get it. Pick it up. Go get it. My son said he found a moon rock, so sorry.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, speaking of the moon, we touched on this briefly, but never, I guess.
The way it's closer. Have you had an increased energy lately?
Well, I seem to have had a little bit of energy, but, I don't know if it was necessarily from the moon. But the thing I wanted to touch upon is that for a long time, the moon was considered its own unique little entity. They called it Luna. They called it Luna.
Also Kingu, depending on...
Right, depending upon, yeah. But, it was its own unique entity, and, it was discussed at great length by the ancients on many occasions. And so, yeah, it wasn't considered a satellite until much, much, much later.
See, that's just it. And with it being the size that it is, and ringing like a bell even back in the 70s. So there's a lot of things about the moon. I mean, we could tell stories. You look at the old text, and apparently it was one of the satellites of Tiamat, but was directed here because how else do you create life here? How else do you have life exist like it does unless we have the tides, unless we have the effect of the oceans, the wave, unless we have that wave.
My kid's going back there going, dad.
She's learning to talk, huh?
Yeah, Daddy is the greatest thing that ever walked the face of the earth.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. Dad. That's what she does. She'll sit there and she'll make that noise all day long. Dad. And then she'll want me to pick her up and put her on my knee and bounce her up and down. And then while she's bouncing up and down, she'll make her voice. She figured out that if she makes a noise while I'm bouncing her on her knee, it comes out kind of vibratory.
Yeah.
So she'll sit there. Oh my gosh, she loves that. And I just drives her.
Just smile. You see a kid smile, and it's hard not to smile yourself. It's one of those things. Just thinking about it makes me smile. Hey, we got a caller. So Sleepy Salsa, I'm so glad you made it back.
Yeah, sorry. Thanks for having me back on, Nikki. Yeah, I was a couple of things were just kind of happening around the place. So, and it wouldn't make for good radio in the background with, drills running and that sort of thing. But I'm here. It's pretty quiet in the background, and so everything's fine. Yes, I did want to ask Unckle Buck a couple of questions that I think
But Unckle Buck's not here anymore.
Oh, geez, okay.
I know. He'll be back. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm here. I exist. I am real. I am a physical being. Hey, may I help you?
Yes,
please.
John
Hilton, this is the Punisher. Just Sleepy Salsa, since we were talking about the sovereignty and the, and issues like that. But yeah, go for it. Maybe we'll be able to help. Maybe not.
Yeah, you never know. Hey.
All right, my first question, Unckle Buck, is there any way to actually function in America, the tax farm that is America, without a Social Security number? Is there a way to do that? Or even if there is a way, is it even desirable?
Yeah, I think that's going to have to be for him. He'll be back to It won't be today, but Sleepy, I'll keep you in touch when he will. And I can actually probably get y'all two in touch anyways, at least via YouTube. You send him an email now, and I promise you he'll respond to you. because he was quite happy with your questions. So for real, just send him a message on YouTube, and I'll get you the link.
You know, there is kind of an addendum question that for crying out loud, hush. There's an addendum, as an addendum to that, I would ask, you know, if you do turn in your Social Security number and cash it in, or Social Security card, excuse me, and cash it in, do you lose your Social Security? I would assume you would lose your Social Security number at that point. And
well, Unckle Buck was talking about simply not giving up your Social Security number. He was saying, please hold on to it, because on the back of it has the number that goes to the accounts that were, or the main number that can connect the accounts that were opened when your birth certificate was created.
well, the thing of it is, see, if you're like me and you could really use that cash,
Yeah.
One might be tempted to cash that puppy in, because that's a hunk of change, you know.
Well, that's what he was doing. He was actually discharging his debts using this account number and sending his debts to the IRS, and they discharged them. And he'll tell you, you don't have to give up your bank accounts, you don't have to give up your credit cards. There's just certain ways, and that's what Unckle Buck's decided to do now. That's where his passion is currently. You know, it's just that you can literally send them the bill, and because of the accounts that were opened, because of your birth certificate when it was first created in the corporation of the United States, that at that point that they have the money literally and they owe you. So you're discharging debt, and you're actually helping the United States debt by doing so, because you're discharging their debt as well. So it's kind of, it took so long, and I know we were on for almost 2 hours. And he will be back, I promise you. Unckle Buck's always around.
Well, that's great. Well, that's great, because I've been reading a series of books on, this related subject matter. I was reading, Mary Elizabeth Croft's How I Clobbered Every Bureaucratic Cash Confiscatory Agency Known to Man. I've read Veronica Chapman's Freedom is More Than Just a Seven-Letter Word. I've read the Anti-Terrorist 2 books, the second of which was Standing Under Freedom. And what I found is that there's... it's just more, well, first off, it's a list of more like the generalized principles, but not anything too specific as to actual procedures. And then the second aspect is that it's not directly applicable to America. Usually these people are either in Canada or Britain. So that's why I was trying to find somebody in America who's familiar with the subject matter and how what the procedures would be exactly for America.
Well, I'm a little squeamish about it, I'll be honest with you. I'm squeamish about it because these country lawyers and judges down here, you go strolling into one of their courts saying that the guy on my ID is not real, they're liable to look at you really funny and call the little men in white shirts to come and take you away.
Which is always a possibility when you do this, and Unckle Buck will be the first to tell you, because they don't understand, especially people in the smaller cities like this, because they've never, ever in their whole career come across someone who would do that. So they really don't understand.
No, I think some of these country judges down here would be more apt to either call the little men in white coats or find you in contempt of court and throw you in jail anyway. Because they're going to be like...
But there are ways. He even says send this information to the IRS in the state of Nevada, seriously, because that's one of the collection areas, is what he had told me before, that accepts certain, I don't want to use legislation, but certain, I guess, loopholes, whatever. They acknowledge that, and they actually welcome that, because that takes down their state debt plus the federal debt, so they actually welcome it. I think they've figured it out in the state of Nevada, and so Nevada accepts this kind of things like Unckle Buck was talking about, Sleepy, and you can literally send them your debt to the IRS that's local in Nevada, and they would be the best option for you. Even if you don't live in Nevada, you can do this. It's kind of, they're one of the way stations, so they get credit for it, so they get credited for doing this. Yeah, it's kind of funny. But that's just from my understanding from what he's talked to me about, so I can't tell you for sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. And then see, then we run into another little problem, and it's something that I actually even addressed on my most recent YouTube video. See, American soil is sovereign. And the
originally, he said it was only for 7 years. Isn't it amazing? Only 7 years did the U.S. exist in the public that we accept. Yes, 7 years.
Right. Okay. Well, now, if you're no longer an American citizen because you have now become a sovereign on your own and of yourself, that might bump you out of the idea of being able to purchase land. Because you are now now it probably wouldn't count on the land you already own, but if you...
I don't know, does the Chinese government own land?
Well, they might, I mean, you never know.
Yep, well, the Chinese actually own several pieces of infrastructure, especially along the West Coast. I mean, that was covered back during the 90s.
Yes, Bill Clinton, God love him, that literally turned over some land on the West Coast over to it literally turned it over to the Communist Chinese, and I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that treason? I mean, hey, what do I know, right? I mean,
But only if we exist under the original structure that we were created, right? So since the time that was given up, then I guess that's no longer the case.
Well, it's just a GD piece of paper, according to Bush, right?
Exactly, right? No, and that's what he was saying. He said actually that's what was auctioned off, was our Constitution, was literally what was used as like collateral to get money after we fought them and got our independence. They used literally the Constitution as collateral to get a loan.
Oh, I see. Well, I'll have to fix that if I become president. I'll have to fix that.
That's crazy, isn't it? I mean, just simply, like, using our Constitution, the thing that connects every person here that's born here, and we apply to these rules, apparently. And therefore, like, they signed the back of the Constitution, basically, like signing the back of a check, right? And handed it over, basically, to the king at that moment in time. And basically for a loan, because we needed to exist. And that's what Unckle Buck was going over. And I was like, that's a fact I was not aware of. That seriously, they use the Constitution as a collateral piece.
Yeah, see, that's crazy. We gotta fix that immediately. Because when you're in a situation like that, what invariably will happen is that you will have a vulnerability. I mean, it's nice. It's like this globalism, okay? In globalism, we've got one country building our bullets, another country building our tanks, another country building this. What if we make these guys mad? I mean, then all of a sudden we have no more bullets, we have no more tanks, and we have no more aircraft. Then what do we do? See, that's where globalism fails. It fails on the military. I mean, it fails on many, many fronts, but from a military perspective, it definitely fails. You do not want to diversify your construction, your mechanical infrastructure, any of that. That's a bad thing.
Yeah, but yet we tend to keep giving it up. But I mean, Sleepy, I know you've done like a lot of research on many, many fronts. So, I mean, you were talking about like literally giving up part of the West Coast. I mean, we keep hearing like the West Coast going to the sea. Maybe it meant to the land that was across the sea.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, even Alex Jones covered that in his first documentary, America Destroyed by Design. So technically, that's not anything new. The only thing that would really be new would just be more of the same in that sense, an increasing. But, something also I've been looking at is apparently in Canada and Britain, it would seem to be the case that there is something you can file called a Notice of Understanding and Intent and a Claim of Right. And I'm trying to actually understand how this document would work. But something that I've noticed is that apparently the only people that were able to pull it off so far were people in Canada as well as Britain. But then I found just earlier today there was a fellow in Montana, goes by the name of Mark Wentworth Staples, and this is commonly available on his website. He was able to do the same thing. It's the exact same thing. I understand the format, but it's a Notice of Understanding and Intent and a Claim of Right. So there's got to be something somewhere in the U.S. code or some piece somewhere that allows you to file that, but I just don't know what that is. So, Unckle Buck, are you familiar with that?
Well, see, that's just it. This is not Unckle Buck. This is the Punisher. This is Von Hilton. Okay. Unckle Buck literally, like he got distracted. He's still traveling across the U.S., and so he had to leave about 35 minutes ago now.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, not a problem. But like I said, I think I sent you on Skype the link to Unckle Buck's channel on YouTube. Send him a message, and I promise you he'd love to talk to you.
Will do. Well, in that case, is your guest familiar with any type of material related to sovereign citizens or free men on the land?
Well, hey, Sleepy, why don't, the things that we usually talk about when it comes to Von Helton, I mean, let's talk about, seriously, he is running for president, okay, by the way, write-in candidate, very good person to look into that exists outside of the red-blue paradigm. Beyond that, I mean, we want to look at history, anything that we're just we're still learning, him and I know for sure, when it comes to a lot of this, well, quote-unquote sovereign. I hate using that word because that's not exactly what it is either. So this is kind of different. It's becoming, as Unckle Buck said, it's a secured creditor in commerce. You literally become like an outside bank, like a worldwide bank, like the IMF sort of. And
well, I get to become
like a diplomat. You literally get sovereign immunity, that kind of thing. Hence the term sovereign. That's the only reason that is correlated, is because of the immunity status that you gain when you become a secured creditor in commerce. At least that's what I understand so far.
Well, the nice thing about it is that if I become president of the United States, one of the first things I will be doing is abolishing the IRS and abolishing the central banking system. So, I mean, at that point, you probably wouldn't even need the sovereignty or freemen on the land or any of that, because the banks will be gone. And interest and credit will also be gone. There will be no interest. There will be no credit. Folks, when you get a loan from a bank, 3/4 of the payments that you make back are interest. That's insanity. It's got to stop. And if I'm president of the United States, I will make it stop, guaranteed. If I have to do it by executive order, then I will. But it must stop. Interest and credit will be gone. Now, you might say, well, gee, Von, how do I buy a house or buy something that costs a lot of money? Well, you could save up your money.
Yeah, you can actually buy it outright, like the way it used to be done. Ooh, what a concept.
Yeah, exactly.
What you mean, you could have one person at home and not the necessity for 2 vehicles for every household, and maybe it's actually influencing the lives of our children? Ooh, what a concept. Maybe gaining control of our lives again, our food, meeting the people that create our food as opposed to just blindly buying it from a supermarket and hoping that it's nutritionally valuable?
Yes, a moratorium on GMO food, definitely a moratorium on GMO food. Also, this idea of getting back to where that the wife does not have to work if she does not want to, because the man is making plenty of money.
But that doesn't always necessitate that it has to be the man's role either, because in some situations it's definitely reversed. But it's kind of hard to go through there without it being effective. Seriously, sometimes the masculine and feminine role don't necessitate that it be from a man and a woman individually to that regard. But the idea is here that we are intelligent enough to recognize when it is better maybe for one to have the greater influence over the child as opposed to the other. And it doesn't mean that that's one less than the other party. It just means that everybody has a role and something to put into the situation.
That's correct. That's
and
correct.
So this idea that we have to get loans for cars, 2 cars loans that usually are like $300-400 each per month, on top of $400 to $600 minimum house payments. And we're talking, it's insane. And then you add in utilities, and then any pets. Oh, you might grow your own food. There's little things that keep getting added in, and yet we instead of accepting a little bit of responsibility and come up with the money to begin with, because that's just it. Back in the day, you didn't get loans. You had the money, or you didn't. And if you didn't, then you didn't get it.
Yeah, you just waited until you had the money and then you went and got it later. No big deal. No big deal at all. And the thing of it is, if you only need one person working, if the other person wants to take a job or something, that could go solely towards obtaining a home or some other large, pricey item. Hopefully, though, if the economy is set up the way that I set up, the prices will drop dramatically anyway. But that's the goal. The goal is for my presidency is to actually put us back the way it used to be. I'll try to get as much accomplished as I possibly can. And, like I said, they'll JFK you, Vaughn. Well, no, they won't, because I'll lock myself in the Oval Office and dare anybody to enter. So, no, they won't be JFKing me.
Well, the filibuster from the Oval Office, that's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I may be a great many things, but stupid is not one of them. If I actually believe that someone's going to try and take me out, quote unquote, I just let myself in the Oval Office and do my.
It won't be in an open car going down the street, right?
Exactly. It won't be an open car where I can get sniped by every sniper on the planet. But yeah. Well, it's actually irrelevant because we now know that all of the assassinated presidents were done by the Illuminati, without exception, including Abraham Lincoln. So no, I will not be riding in any open-air motorcades anytime soon. I will stay in the Oval Office and get the job done.
All right, good job. That's good. Okay, yeah.
Actually, Von Helton, I wanted to ask
you know what? We're getting close to a break, so why don't we go ahead and do that? That sounds good, don't you think?
Okay, sounds like a plan.
All right, so let me find the ads since this is totally unprepared. Hey, Freedomizers, we'll be right back with you. We've got, Sleepy Salsa, are you still there with us? You gonna hang in there?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, we got Sleepy Salsa and, of course, Von Helton, the Punisher, with us. Presidential candidate, right in. And somebody trying to bring about information and let people realize that research, along with Sleepy Salsa, I think we're all definitely adamant believers in this. Research is the power and the key that we truly have here now. So, hey, everybody, keep reading, and we'll be right back with you. Hang in there.
Hi, folks, CT here. I want to talk to you about a great preparedness resource, tomorrowsharvest.com. Whether it's an economic collapse or nature's fury, there's no feeling more secure than knowing that your loved ones will be well fed. If it's time to bug out or just camping with the family, Tomorrow's Harvest offers high-quality, cost-effective, and long-term smart food storage. Get your free sample. The choices are great. From blueberry pancakes to the cowboy chili, no one else has the meal variety of Tomorrow's Harvest. They also provide other survival necessities. Check out the various packages and customize your meal supply. Remember, there's no reason for fear today when you're prepared with Tomorrow's Harvest. Go to www.tomorrowsharvest.com and tell them you're Freedomizers.
Hey, Freedomizers, have you started your food storage yet? Are you dehydrating your own organic fruits and vegetables? Proof Negative here is going to tell you to check out dehydrate2store.com, where Tammy is going to show you how to dehydrate your own fruits and vegetables so that you can have the best food storage possible. Why waste money on inferior products when you could do it yourself? Easy. Check out dehydrate2store.com.
Howdy, folks. Buford T. Slaughter here. As part of my continuing rehabilitation, and in conjunction with my anger management coach and my parole officer, I am required to do community service in the form of public service announcements. The TSA needs you. If you're the kind of guy that doesn't mind looking at naked boys and girls as they walk through the naked body scanners, or if you don't mind pulling an 82-year-old grandma out of her wheelchair, beating the heck out of her, make sure she's not carrying any bomb-making equipment, and if you don't mind taking people that object to this kind of treatment, slapping the heck out of them, pulling them in the back room, and strip searching them, then the TSA is for you. The TSA is hiring men and women to work at numerous locations around the United States, and the only qualifications are you must have longer than average index fingers, be able to sit and stare at the screen while letting people walk in front of you, and be able to take orders without any questions whatsoever. So, if you're interested in the TSA, please call 1-800-BROWN-SHIRT. 1-800-BROWN-SHIRT. And on a personal note, when the TSA does frisk you as you're going through the airport security, it is an act of love for the U.S. government. It is not an act of rape. So please do not beat them up. Thank you for your time.
And we're going to have to come to the grips with the fact that they told us exactly what they were going to do. They wrote a document called the Project for a New American Century.
Don't ever say I didn't warn you. That's about all one can do. Anything these creatures say, the opposite is probably true. But every day, their grip is getting stronger. We must not prune the tree of evil any longer. Every day, the tyrant's getting closer. Will you sit back and watch? I do what you look like.
What can I get with 2.3 trillion? When does a citizen become a civilian? When did the heroes morph into the villains? How can 2 planes cauterize 3 buildings? These are questions that could get you murked, politically, socially, physically put into the dirt. Many swear that there's some kind of conflict of interest within. The conflict depends upon what you're interested in. You can chant 9/11 was an inside job all day until you say the Mossad and pay closer attention to Flight 175 and the odd cylindrical pod beneath the fuselage. Then it's 2 plus 2 level addition after you factor in the flight termination system. Then flash back to the cash the good rabbi stole, September 10th style, right down the rabbit hole. Can I get with you? You can get unlimited corporate news. What can I get with you? You can have any mercenary you choose. What can I get with you? You can steal a couple million souls. What can I get with you? You can get everything under control. The mystery hit the Pentagon list was not an act of randomness. It murdered accountants, bookkeepers, and budget analysts. That side of the building was retrofitted prior to this to withstand bomb blast, the nickname that catches miss. If that don't give you some kind of clue why they glue the mortar, maybe you should take some medication for your new disorder. If buildings are burning, don't ever trust a news reporter with 267 stories of gruesome slaughter. Don't ever mention Dubs Zakeem and trillion stolen, much less missile-equipped Boeings, even remote controlling with System Planning Corporation International. The folks that see if you got some buildings you like to crash into. But that's impossible without the proper capital. That's why I'm asking you what you would do with unimaginable wealth. So much money you can't delve in it. Enough to buy 10 presidents and 12 senators. What can I get with 2.3 trillion unlimited corporate news? That's right. What can I get with 2.3 trillion? You can have any mercenary you choose. All night. What can I get with 2.3 trillion? You can steal a couple million souls. Indeed. What can I get with 2.3 trillion? You can get everything under control. Now that's greed. What can I get? What can I get?
You know, it took me about a year to start hating the 9/11 victims' families. It took me about a year. And I had such compassion for them, and I really, I wanted to help them.
That's about a millionth of what you can get with 2.3 trillion. Some clown named Glenn Beck, fucking with a Pentagon talking point of how he hates the 9/11 victims' families. But that didn't roll over too well, did it, Glenn? They're well aware they can no longer create a consensus as effectively as they used to. So they parade some other clown on the other side of the spectrum named Geraldo. to tacitly give 9/11 truth a 6-minute segment semblance of credence, as if we didn't have that 9 years ago, dummy. The system is designed to make you think anything is funny. Pretty soon you won't be able to buy anything with your monopoly money, dummy. What can I get with 2.3 trillion? 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 2.3 trillion.
All right, Freedomizers, we're back here with you, and the Punisher's with us. Vaughn, you still there?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, very awesome. This is nice. I actually just enjoy these kind of impromptu kind of things, you know, where there's like absolutely no plan. There's just, hey, let's talk.
Sure, why not? Absolutely, absolutely. And usually there's almost always something to discuss anyway. So, I mean, you know, everything going on out there. It's like I said a while back, I mean, if I really wanted to, it would be no trouble for me to do 5, 6 videos a day with everything that's going on out there. So, you know, for my own peace of mind and for my own chance to relax a little bit.
And for your family, too.
I kind of, and spend time with family, too, right? You know, I need to space it out a little bit, you know. And actually some of my subscribers are like, hey, Vaughn, I need my daily fix. And I'm trying to, you know, I try to get a video out a day, but, you know, with one kid here and 2 more on the way, don't always make it. So, you know, but I try.
Yeah, hey, we do what we can, right? It's not like we don't try. We try to do what we can to put the information out that we come across. And it's not like you're telling everybody, hey, believe everything I say is gospel truth, right?
Right, exactly right. And so, you know, but which video? Oh, Lord, I forget which video I mentioned that in, but it was one of my more recent ones, so.
Yeah. And no, it's this whole idea that, like, do your own research. Never trust anything we say at face value. Ever. Seriously, do your own research, find out for yourself. Just, hey, this is the information we come across, and this is what we found. And, you know, take from it what works for you and find out the rest for yourself.
Absolutely right. And I've said that on numerous occasions in my videos. You know, do the research for yourself, Google it, Yahoo it, Lycos it, you know, whatever search engine you use. But yeah, absolutely. Don't take my word for it. Go out there, seek it out for yourself. You know, it's just like this planetoid. It's one of those things, you know, because everybody's, oh, well, you know, all you have is one picture from stereo behind. Is that enough? I said, well, you know, I mean, if there's other information out there, look for it, seek it out, you know. I know that...
And then, hey, bring us the information, too, because we'd love to see it.
Absolutely, but, the ancient writings do talk of stars in the sky and planets and whatnot.
And the Star Brothers, and almost every single culture there exists these Star Brothers.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, when you go back and actually read these ancient writings and stuff and what they had to say, you know, see, for a long time, we dismissed a lot of these old writings as, you know, as fantasy and fairy tales and blah, 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 you know. Now we're finding, hey, maybe it's not as fantasy as we thought it was, you know. So, yeah.
It's like the idea of mythology, right? When you have enough proof presented to you, how long do you call it mythology?
That's right. And so, you know, it pays to read. And that's one thing that upsets me, because when the Spanish conquistadores came to Central America, they destroyed a lot of the ancient writings that the Incas, Aztecs, Toltecs had spread down, and that's a shame. That's a real shame because I think a lot of pertinent information. Well, for example, why does the calendar end on 2012? Just as one example, why does the Mayan calendar end on 2012? Well, see, a lot of those writings that the conquistadores destroyed probably could have given us the answer to that question.
Well, and that's just it. And we are always shown the Aztec calendar, not even the Mayan calendar. So we have this mental concept of this whole idea that it's like a clock that we see on our walls, right? It's at 12, and then it all ends like really quick, like at the top. But the thing is that it's not like that. Let's take like a pocket watch where you have 4 or 5 different cogs to a wheel that are all connected. And at this point, each of the different cogs are definitely reaching their beginning point. And this rarely happens. But nowhere on that calendar does it state that time ends.
No, well, of course not. And with the center part of the calendar being perfectly round, one can assume that time continues to march on. Actually, my understanding of the calendar is that it's in 3 parts. You have a long straight bar at the top. Then you have a semi-curved section. And then, of course, you have the center part, which is a circle. And then you move the 3 parts in conjunction with each other, and as you do, you line them up to notches in the various parts, and then that's how you get the calendar to be quite. And and even the scientists say that it's probably even more accurate than the Julian and Gregorian calendars.
Yeah, like the old maps that they've used to actually correct their own maps that have been currently used from satellite images, which most people don't seem to understand, is like the old maps are actually more accurate, and they use those to pinpoint where GPS should be, not in our current maps, but from the ones that exist from ancient time, antediluvian maps. That's pretty amazing.
Yes, and like I said, these ancient writings. Speaking of the ancient writings, supposedly we have discovered a Vimana spacecraft, which was talked about in the ancient Tibetan writings and Indian writings, and so that's wow, that's fascinating stuff. And I'm desperately looking for my link, and hopefully I will find. Here we go. Alrighty, let me pull that up here right quick. Okay, this is from 4X Forums. The title of it is Tall Tale or Truth? The Vimana.
Send it to me, or are you just going to read it?
I'll just read it verbatim. It's very
awesome, go.
Yeah, it's very, very short.
No.
Yeah, but I will give you the link. But yeah, it says Tall Tale or Truth? The Vimana spaceships found in Afghanistan cave.
Yeah.
And this is from a personal perspective, obviously. It says, I heard a guy talking about this on another blog, and it seems like such an awesome story. But something about Vladimir Putin being upset that the Western powers have had their visitors visit the large object known as Vimana, or an ancient spaceship that would allow the occupants to control the world. But the Vimana is stuck in a cave, and 8 U.S. soldiers disappeared trying to remove it from its location. Probably dematerialized, beamed up by something, and it wasn't Scotty. So Germany's Merkel has seen it, France's Sarkozy has seen it, Obama has seen it, Robert Gates, as Defense Secretary of the U.S., has seen it, all allegedly, but where do they get these stories from, and who are the missing soldiers? Wouldn't the families come forward? I guess the idea is that the technology is so advanced that whoever can harness the power of it can literally rule the world. Western powers, NATO, American Union. So do you believe that there's an ancient Vimana in a cave in Afghanistan stuck, unable for the U.S. Army to retrieve it without losing its mental power?
Well, that area alone, I mean, let's talk about like just simple the area that's in question. Afghanistan's still like an area that's reported in ancient texts, just not as Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still talking like the major areas that are reported even in the Bible. This is areas where ancient civilizations first created or had the viability, whether it's because of frozen areas elsewhere, whatever the reason is, there was a viable area here on the earth at that moment in time, and this was definitely one of the areas. And we tend to ignore this. Little stories, oh yeah, they used to have technology, that's impossible. We're talking Afghanistan.
Right, even though we've discovered the Baghdad Battery, we've discovered the Egyptian wall mural that has an obvious picture of a light bulb on it, hooked up to a battery.
From Dindara?
Yeah. And so, you know, I'm convinced that it's entirely possible they may have indeed found one. And if they have, wow, what a find. You know, that would be incredible. Of course.
So there were still stories, right, that in Egypt, or close, like, okay, separated from the major three that we are aware of, the Great Three Pyramids, you know, at Giza, that they actually uncovered a Vimana. At least that's what the terms were, you know, and we're talking shortly after World War II, and that actually not only the U.S., which may be surprise to a lot of people, were included at this moment in time, but the U.S. and Germany and the Vatican came in and took control of the site and took control of whatever object was taken out of the sand after reports of what was there, and the Vatican moved it, and they took it out within a day. And then there's these reports of what was found, and of course now we've got, the Egyptian ministry that's in control of, what is that guy's name? I can never remember his name. The guy in charge of the Egyptian history. I don't know. I can see his face so clearly. It's kind of sad, but the guy that keeps all the information from us and is the first to enter any archaeological site before those that may have uncovered it are even allowed to. Gisawi, what is his name? I can't remember. So that guy, I guess that's inconsequential when it comes down to the whole bit of it.
If you can't remember it, it must not be important, right?
Exactly. The thing is that a lot of this has been hidden. Now it's termed forbidden archaeology. What do you think of that term?
Yeah, isn't that an interesting term? Forbidden archaeology. Now, there's a term I could really, really try to dissect. You know, I mean, archaeology, which is supposed to be for everyone, you know, for the betterment of everyone. And
for finding information, for finding our past. I mean, that's what archaeology is supposed to be.
Exactly right. And unfortunately, now we have things like forbidden archaeology. Well, whoop-de-doo. You know, that wasn't archaeology's original intent, now was it?
No, and those that have adhered to the forbidden archaeology have either completely disappeared from this earth and our existence and are now considered RIP. But those that haven't were paid off not to speak. So we've had either they're all dead or they won't talk because they got paid.
Yeah.
So what does that say? Does that mean that they were truly onto something? They don't want the rest of us to know that maybe we are more talented and have more abilities than the elite would like us to know? I mean, Spawn, what do you think? Seriously.
Well, that's entirely possible, and in fact, I addressed this in a very old video years ago called Children of the New Dream. And without going into too much detail on the video, basically what it was is that they were finding that children with debilitating diseases such as AIDS or whose parents, that had debilitating diseases such as AIDS and other such things, eventually found out that the children were totally immune, and not only were they totally immune, but they were extraordinary children to boot. So
you're talking about the indigo, right?
Well, the indigo is part of it. But it is not the only part. And but yeah, very, very interesting. I'm going to try and see if I can get my older hard drives to work in my newer machine, and if I can, hopefully I can extract the videos from those hard drives and get them onto my new system and get them back out there to everybody, because there's a lot of information chock full in that thing in regards to our DNA structure and how we have evolved or mutated, which is a term I like to use, over time, because I don't believe in macroevolution. I believe in microevolution, but not macro. You know, so yeah, there's a lot of information in there. If I can get the videos back up, I will. But it's called Children of the New Dream. Very, very fascinating article.
I love the title of that. I mean, that is like probably one of the best names. I mean, seriously, because we don't seem to realize, like personally, I've had dreams since I was a kid that I still will probably not talk about on air right now. We don't seem to realize, like, even waking dreams, there's little things that have happened for a lot of people that were born past a certain point, or even before a certain point. There's this certain awakening that has been happening on a small basis, and whatever you want to call it, whatever this is, a new dream is a great definition, I have to say.
Yeah, it is, in fact. And but yeah, I'll try and see if I can extract that and get the video back up.
And that's what you're talking about, right? Am I totally off basis, or?
Yes and no. You know, these children were found to have extraordinary ability, and well, in fact, let me just do a quick Google search and see if I can find
it real fast. Yeah.
Yeah, see if I can find the article in question, and that would be the best way to do it.
Yeah, don't y'all love Blog Talk Radio? That's the one thing about all this is, see, this is all live, and yes, we are all real people here. Mm-hmm. So yes, we still have life going on, and it's not like we're in a recording studio, because I'm literally in my living room.
Yeah.
And so you always hear my family around me in the background.
Right. There's the actual article that I got from the that I made my video from, and
it's in the chat room now for those listening as well.
Yeah, and you know, this was Omni Magazine, folks. This was back when Omni Magazine was around. Omni Magazine was the premier science magazine that was out there. And, you know, I don't know whatever happened to them, by the way, but maybe they got a little too close to the truth and were shut down. But Omni Magazine was definitely not a conspiracy mag. It was the premier science magazine of its day. And, you know, Omni Magazine did a special write-up about this. I mean, it was, you know, this was an incredible find. And they had, you know, like I said, they displayed extraordinary ability. And, you know, it's a fascinating read. And all of these people, I researched these people, all the names.
Even like one of the people in the chat room, Doc, which I love Doc. He's part of Freedomizer as well. Mm-hmm. I want to say about Doc Yobi. I have much respect for him, but he was saying, yeah, Omni was a very good magazine. So.
And so, you know, I did a four-part video on this article, and plus, obviously, I gave my own opinions along with it as well. But it's a fascinating article if you want to take the time to read it. And you know, that is definitely one possible explanation of things that are happening in the world today.
And hey, we all have an opinion and a viewpoint, so that's what's important. Instead of taking a divisive standpoint and saying that people are totally separate and have no idea what they're doing, why not learn from them and at least look at something from a different set of eyes or a different viewpoint or whatever you want to call that perspective that is not your own? Sometimes it's important for us to learn so that, like water, we no longer reach a point to where we don't grow, where we just stay in one spot, where we stagnate and die, and all life that's attached to it dies as well. We don't want to be like that. We want to keep growing, we want to keep moving, we want to keep learning. And that's what this is about. This is about us actually taking from each other what benefits our own personal growth. At least from my point of view, I think that's what's important. And to understand that we are still all connected, therefore we shouldn't fear our neighbor because they are only different from us for the point that we should learn that difference. Not that we are different other than we are still all human.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's right. That's right. And we can and there's a possibility that we might become even more than just human.
Yeah, and it takes this understanding that we are still all connected. Look what quantum physics and quantum mechanics and quantum science is now finding is spirituality, and it's not attached to dogmatic religion, which, okay, religion has its point, don't get me wrong, especially when it comes to kids, because the simple reason that there are values that should be passed on from parent to child. But since when do we need a preacher to do so? I'm just saying. And why do we need a lie? Like, okay, that's probably not the best word, and I apologize for a lot of people listening, because I know, okay, this is a major right-wing conservative fight. So I do apologize for being like the black sheep here, whatever, but this idea that we have to be controlled, I have an issue with. This whole idea that we have to listen to someone else when we know what's right within ourselves. And I think that's what a lot of the text tends to point towards, is that we definitely know the difference, and we don't have to have this control. We don't have to have a new world order to accomplish a worldwide community. We don't have to have someone in charge of it, because people usually act like people. And it's when we fear our neighbor that ceases to be.
Well, we went 200 plus years without any type of consolidation other than minor ones. And we seemed to do just fine. I mean, there was no EU. There was no African Union or Asian Union or North American Union. We did just fine without those entities for 200 plus years. Now, granted, we had a few hiccups along the way, like World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, but...
Now we have fear that...
Yeah, fear and loathing, yes.
Well, now we have fear that we can't accomplish something that we haven't perceived in our own lifetime. That even the monetary system changed constantly before, what, the 20s? So come on. Are we that afraid because we haven't experienced it personally? Or do we doubt our own parents, our own grandparents? Do we doubt our lineage to the point to where those that fought for the United States of America or the Republic of the United States, as it was originally meant to be, those that fought against the banks, fought against this divisionary method that's being used currently. And it's such a simple, observable idea once you recognize it. And that's what's important, why research is so important, so that you see what's happening around you.
I think somebody is wanting me to do a karaoke of Money for Nothing.
Go for it. We got about 90 seconds. So man,
90 seconds? No, I can't do it. I can't do a 5-minute song in 90 seconds.
But you can do see, there it goes. You can do something.
Well, man, you must be psychic, I'll tell you. But maybe another day. Maybe another day.
All right. Maybe another day. That'd be cool, too. Just remind us a little bit earlier in the show, and maybe we'll get accomplished that, right?
That's right. Okay, 80 seconds. Okay, Von Helton for president. James Paul Von Helton for president. I am a write-in candidate. I am legit. I am the real deal. 60 seconds. Vote Von Helton for president. You won't be sorry. Okay, there you
go. Here we go. James Paul Von Helton. Cool. People pay attention. That's how you do it. You can copy and paste if you need to and save it so that you know how to write it.
Yep, definitely am doing it. I definitely
I think I still, no, I don't. Okay. Hey, everybody, this is Nickie Nix, and this has been Von Helton. Thank you so much. And before was, of course, Unckle Buck. We did sovereignty. We did a little bit of everything. And, of course, we covered presidential candidate. Quite a nice show, I have to say, for a Friday evening. And it is quite a nice Friday afternoon. I love today. It's fun. I'm happy. So, hey, everybody, who's, wake up or die. I think this will be long enough. So, guys, hang in there. Have fun. And look up every now and then.
See you guys.
Your call is important to us. Please continue to hold, and we'll be with you shortly.
Thank you for holding. How can I be of service to you today?
Yes, I have this recurring charge on my monthly statement, and I can't figure out what it's for.
Well, we'll certainly do our best to help you. What does the charge say in your statement?
Well, it's a $275 charge, and it just says Iraq War.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. The Iraq War cost the average American family over $16,000 since the war started.
Are you kidding? Well, I never signed up for that.
I'm sorry, ma'am. You don't sign up for the Iraq War charge.
Tell me, have you enjoyed your war so far?
Standard charge for all Americans.
Have you gotten a picture of who they are?
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Did the men in a cave knock down your tower?
Well, if you don't mind, can I interest you in our new monthly Iran War charge?
No.
Are you gonna behave or lay next to flowers?
Thanks for calling the United States.
Wake up, it's after HLA, get out of bed. Fuck what the spectator said, scientific dictatorship straight ahead. Rise and shine, sleepyhead, it's after HLA, get out of bed. This is a bucket of water on your head, you're asleep. You might as well be dead.